Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around to talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, and streaming. Again, we're joined by our special guests here today, once again, and I am also not alone. Neither is my bottle. Sitting over here is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
You know, I wasn't going to drink on today's show, but when you held that up, I had a Pavlovian response, John. I want to put some of that aviation gin in Starbucks, ice, black tea. Dude, I've been dreaming about
Really?
it.
That's the move?
That is the move.
I would be into that.
It is
Yeah, to gin
good.
and tea.
I'll tell you something. There's something
sweet
about that
southern treat.
I'm telling you, that aviation gin melds very well.
Listen, I'm playing on hard level today. I didn't bring a mixer. I want it straight in my mouth. Let's go.
Well, speaking
That's
of
what
which,
this
the
is.
one who is playing it straight into her mouth, Chris Carr is here. Chris, how you doing?
I'm excellent. John,
Can't
how are
even
you doing
comment on
today?
that.
Sitting right beside her, it just didn't even come out the way I wanted it to. Sitting right beside her, it's Wednesday, so Aaron Cummings is here. Aaron, how are you today?
Oh, I'm good, but I am not with my beloved Joey Bishop. If you want to say a couple, she's doing great. She's doing great. She had a dental work, and she had an ear infection that she's going to be on some heavy meds for. So if you want to go see what my dog looks like when she is fucked up, not just when mommy is, but head over to my Instagram and you'll see her when she still has a couple of her meds in her system. It's quite cute.
Can I give a shout out to your glasses?
Yeah.
Those
Right?
glasses are fan-effing-tastic.
Oh my gosh, when I first found out that I was of the mature age where I needed readers, my eye doctor said you were the only person who's ever been excited to get granny glasses. I was like, obviously, Amazon.com.
They're very retro. I love
Or
them.
Yeah.
$10.
They're so awesome.
thank
You know, in the blacklist, there's that woman that works for Raymond Reddington.
She was on the blacklist.
And I don't know who you're talking about.
The older,
Yeah, she actually appeared in the
the
blacklist.
fixer. Okay, well,
Mr. Kaplan, I think, is the character's name.
the woman.
Mr. Kaplan?
Well,
Her
I look
name
like
is
If-
Mr. Kaplan.
If they
I love
replace
that.
her, you've got to take over. Bring me back.
Blacklist, bring me back. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
look-
killed her off in the show.
Yeah, that's
Well,
why she can be a new
I'm the
character.
resurrection of Mr.
Oh, you're one of the younger versions of Mr.
Yeah,
Kaplan.
yeah, or her daughter.
Oh, I could do that. Well, by the way, what I wanted to say, though, is really quickly, on my way here on the radio this morning, the Nielsen's just released that apparently right now, between streaming, cable, broadcast, between all the ways that you can watch, absorb content, there are 817,000 shows that we can watch. And so I need to call my agent because I'm not on any of them right now. I know. I'm like, why am I not starring on a show? There's 817,000 of
They
them.
probably made 817,000 episodes is probably what they make. I don't.
Probably in history.
Yeah, or maybe in all of history.
Well,
maybe,
apparently
yes.
last year there were 629,000. So there is an explosion of content.
Yes, yeah,
and
huge.
so it's just, and I mean, they were listing several shows that were in their third and fourth seasons that I've never even heard of, and so it's just an incredible time. If you are a content maker, clearly there's a home for your project. So whatever story you want to tell, now's the time to get out and tell it.
Somewhere there is a home for your project. Anyway, guys, it is great to have you here today, and here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it up into two parts, as always. The first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you want to get a live comment or question on and you're watching live, and you have to be watching live, you can use the Super Chat feature. Now, we're going to turn on Super Chats once we get about close to the end of the final topic. So we're not going to open it up right now. We'll open up Super Chats once we get close to the end of the final topic. And then the Super Chats will probably be open for about 5 minutes because that's how long it takes them to get completely filled up. So be ready for that once we get to the end of those topics. Also, a little bit of house cleaning today. Want to remind you guys that if you need your audio-only fix of the John Campea Show, maybe you're commuting or you're jogging or whatever, and you can't have a YouTube video on in front of you, we've got the John Campea Show podcast. Just go onto your favorite podcasting app of choice, search for the John Campea Show podcast, and subscribe to it today. Also, don't forget that we have a separate podcast feed for Movie Club. Movie Club has its own separate podcast feed. Go and subscribe to that today. A little bit more about Movie Club in a second. And also, we have now created a completely separate podcast feed for Mailbag. So if you like listening to the Mailbag episodes, they also have their own podcast feed right now. Look at that perfect 5-star rating. Anyway, go ahead and subscribe to those today. So those podcasts will be there when you need it. Also, little bit of a scheduling thing. Today on the John Campea YouTube channel, it's a busy day. We got the John Campea Show right now at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have our movie club meeting today, and we are talking about Captain America Civil War. Then at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today, we have our Moon Knight Episode 3 open spoiler discussion. So make sure you guys come back and join us for that stuff today. We got a big day ahead of us here. So streaming, like, pretty soon it's going to be a 24-hour channel. Pretty soon it's going to be running nonstop 24 hours. Anyway, guys, good to have you here. Okay, with all that down, let's get into some topics here. We're going to start with an off the top, and that is this. You know, there was a little bit of disturbance in the force the other day. Spider-Man No Way Home, of course, one of the biggest movies of all time, is now out on physical media. Now, earlier, when Sony was kind of initially advertising the Blu-ray release, they said it was going to be 90 bonus minutes of content, including deleted and extended scenes. Well, I was just mentioning to Rob that earlier yesterday morning or the other day, the National Association of People Who Still Buy Blu-rays got together and they held their annual meeting. And they decided that they were outraged.
Rob's not even in that photo.
Rob missed it. No, that Rob's probably in the sound booth at the back. They missed it, but no. In all seriousness, the people who have been looking forward to buying the Blu-ray of Spider-Man No Way Home got a little bit perturbed because they found out that, number one, apparently it is not 90 minutes of bonus content. It is 80 minutes of bonus content. But more importantly, no deleted scenes, which is something that Sony said was going to be on it. And a lot of people who love this movie kind of looking forward to some deleted scenes. This comes us from the folks over at Screen Rant to write the following. Marvel fans who have purchased the Blu-ray / 4K Ultra HD of Spider-Man No Way Home have voiced their anger at the fact that it does not include any deleted or extended scenes. The Smash MCU flick was given its physical home media release in the US today, Tuesday, April 12th, after its digital release a month ago. It came out in theaters December of last year, breaking records as the highest grossing theatrical release post-COVID. The movie picks up, well, we know where the movie picks up and all that kind of stuff. So, but basically is this, there's no bonus features. They said there would be. The marketing and promotion for the film's physical media release advertised that it would come with 90 minutes of bonus content, including deleted and extended scenes. However, the direct reports, the actual Blu-ray now lists 80 minutes of extra footage instead of 90, and instead of deleted and extended scenes, it names a feature called Spider-Man Unite. This happens to match the bonus content included in the movie's Blu-ray release in the UK, which was a week ago, which leads many disappointed fans to blame Sony for false advertising. So look, the main thing when I used to buy physical media, the main thing I would get physical media for mostly was for the director's commentary. I mean, that's my favorite thing on any Blu-ray. Like, deleted scenes are fun, extended scenes are fun, but they're not really a part of the movie, so I don't really consider those that big of a deal, but I would still get a kick out of them. I still like them. I just know this. If I was one of these people who bought the Blu-ray because of deleted scenes, and I know there are a bunch of people who do, that would be kind of upsetting. And I honestly don't know why. I mean, clearly at some point here, Sony planned on putting in extended scenes. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said that. At some point, they had to have planned to put in deleted scenes. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said that. There's got to be a story here behind the scenes about why those were suddenly magically not in there. I'm going to assume, although I'm not a mathematician, that we're probably looking at about 10 minutes of deleted scenes, considering it was supposed to be 90 and it's 80. So, but listen, if it says right on the box, if you see on the box before you buy it what is and is not included, then again, some people might not have looked. They just might have remembered hearing that there's going to be deleted scenes, bought it, put it down. Rob, you are more of the physical media guy, obviously, in this room. Is this much ado about nothing? Is this actually a significant deal? Have you bought your copy yet of the 4K Spider-Man No Way Home? What do you think about this story?
Okay. I've been buying physical media now. This is the 42nd year I've been buying physical media. I have a huge collection of Blu-rays and 4K discs. I still buy them. I say this with love. Studios have no interest in physical media at all anymore. They just don't. It is moving over the way Laserdiscs were once. It's a niche market. It's catering to collectors, and you're having great companies, whether it's Second Sight or Kino or Vinegar Syndrome or Shout. These boutique companies are coming in and taking over. The studios do not care. So it does not surprise me that they're still servicing physical media. They're still selling in the millions and millions, if not billions, but that is precipitously plummeting, 15 to 20% a year. So deleted scenes, all these things cost money. For instance, if you have a deleted scene that you put on a disc that has an actor in it that wasn't in the movie, there's things that have to be dealt with. SAG rules, people have to get paid, that kind of thing. It could be that the deleted scenes either were not finished, the visual effects weren't finished, and the decision was made, you know what? We're not going to spend the money on restoring these scenes. We're just not going to do it. And so they don't put them on the disc. And no one cares. It's like Disney on Disney Plus. They've released IMAX enhanced versions of 13 of their movies. The 4K discs are not IMAX enhanced. I certainly would love it. You've got people on the internet, huge physical media supporters that have longtime channels that will tell you that they would prefer watching Avengers Endgame on Disney Plus rather than watch their 4K discs because they've got the IMAX enhanced version. So it doesn't surprise me, John. And you can't get a 3D version of Spider-Man No Way Home anywhere in the world. You could go to Japan and get Black Widow. You could get Shang-Chi in 3D. You can't get No Way Home anywhere. You're probably going
Do
to
they
3D.
even buy 3D? But do they even sell 3D televisions anymore?
They do not. Not in this
Right,
country.
okay.
But 3D is still big in other parts of the world. I love home 3D. I have a 3D 65-inch 3D plasma.
Of course you do.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm not laughing at you.
You and Ray are the only two people I know that own
I've been
3D
trying to be
TVs.
deadly serious about this topic, and you just blew the mood. But I haven't even had any gin today.
Literally be like,
Mine-
what
So-
are they over under on whether or not Rob actually owns a 3D television that is not sold in this country? And not only does he own one, he owns a 65-inch version of
I love
it.
that for
Okay,
you, man.
now
I love that for you.
Let
I
me
think-
just tell you. Let me just
like,
tell you.
you are literally a caricature of yourself.
If you care to know, I recently received the French Dune Steelbook that comes with the 3D version in it. Now
is
they
it
released the
pretty?
3D version here, luckily, but I wanted that French Steelbook, so I have it.
Oh.
So you know what? Make fun all you want.
Do you speak French?
No, but
Do you
Elizabeth
read French?
does. No.
Oh, Elizabeth does. Okay.
Elizabeth,
Il ne parle pas
yes.
français.
But I will tell you this: when my new dedicated home theater is built, I'm going to invite everyone over.
But me?
No,
won't
you're
get-
coming. No, you're coming, and we're going to have a 3D presentation like you've never seen before.
Of Dune?
Whatever you want.
I would love
I've
to.
got-
That's a
I've
lot
got-
of sand.
I've got
Like,
conversions
all
of
over.
Top Gun. I got Titanic in 3D.
Do you
Oh,
have, like, an
oh my
Anakin
God, I would
Skywalker
All right, we need to get things back on track.
I she's the last emperor in 3D.
Clock is ticking. We need to get
Sorry.
things back on track here. Chris, you hear about this? Like, how upset should a physical media collector be if they went and bought this thing and they were expecting deleted scenes and there weren't? Is this a big deal? Is it not a big deal? How do you see this?
I mean, it's a real Anna de Armas, isn't it? we were promised one thing and we got something else. It makes me think of, you know, in Elf, when they're talking about like, hey, do you know how the story ends? Because my kid sure doesn't. There's nothing printed on here. It feels like that kind of oversight of just they didn't finish what they were supposed to do and no one really gave a rat's ass. And I do think it sucks if you were buying this for those deleted scenes. I would be bummed out if I wanted that.
I'd just like to point out that this is a Sony movie. And Sony, John Campea, has a PlayStation 5 right outside that has a
do.
beautiful 4K disc player in it.
Yeah, that is
So-
still a virgin and will never be penetrated. Nothing is ever going to go into it.
I have so many things I could loan you.
I wish. I mean, I would have bought the one without the disc. Without the disc, if I had that option, but the only one that was available was the one with the.
Now you're
3D
just
slot
being
on it.
willful. You're willfully not going to stick a disc in that hole.
Oh my God! I want to say something so bad, but we have sponsors and they won't let me.
I do
am
want
I
to say this.
sober?
Though. Well, I'm glad
But
you brought up
Sony
the-
supports PlayStation's got a great Blu-ray
I
and
know
4K
they do,
player, and they
but
should support. If
I-
any company should make their disc releases just chock a block full of good stuff, it's Sony.
Physical media is dead. It's dying. But I would say this. I'm glad you brought up the Ana de Armas thing, because a few people wrote to me and say, isn't this the exact same thing as the Ana de Armas thing? And I would counter that it's actually completely opposite from the Ana de Armas thing. Because whereas, yes, Sony did at one point advertise that, they stopped advertising it and they didn't put it on the box.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Amazon and look up the trailer for, what was the name of the Beatles movie again?
Oh,
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Which
If
I
you
have
go-
at 4K physical media.
Of course you do.
Just saying.
If you go onto Amazon today and look up the trailer that they play for rental of Yesterday, it's still the trailer, still advertising Ana de Armas in it to this day, even though she's not in the movie. So
But her deleted scenes on the disc.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yes,
But I
it
mean,
is.
that doesn't help you if you
If
read,
you're renting
read the
it,
movie
yeah.
or went to
But
buy
are
it
these
to the movie.
deleted? So are these deleted scenes available on the internet, or they're just
Not
there's
that I know
no
of.
deleted scenes
because
anywhere?
we popped on a YouTube video the other day that was like deleted scenes from Spider-Man. We were like, none of these are deleted scenes. This is some behind the
This
scenes.
is behind the scenes
Yeah.
stuff. There's some outtake stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, I like that stuff too.
Same.
Oh, I love the behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah,
that's
me too.
that was always my thing. It wasn't necessarily so much the deleted scenes as much as the how did they come up with this? How did they create this? And you know what? Not to, I think it is wonderful that you support physical media, and I know that that is a specific niche market, and I am like, you be you. But I agree with John. If something is advertised, but then the product comes out and it doesn't say on the product, this is available, then it's kind of like buyer beware. You got to look on the box and know.
I totally agree with you.
I only have one theory though.
And I agree with you too. Did it officially come out? Was there like an ad slick or something that actually said it was going to have deleted scenes on it?
Oh, well, there was like when they first made the announcement a month or 2 or 3 months ago, whatever they did.
If it was in the official announcement, that's problematic.
Yeah, it's absolutely problematic. But I mean, not as of the actual launch. They didn't say it was there. Now run out and buy it for the deleted scenes.
Right.
The only theory I have, and because this would not be the first time studios done this, the worst culprits of this have been Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. The only reason, because clearly there are deleted scenes, because they said that before. The only theory I have now is that they said, you know what? We could put the deleted scenes on there. Or we could re-release the special Spider-Man No Way Home deluxe Blu-ray version in 6 months with all new deleted scenes and blah, blah, because listen, Lord of the Rings double dipped, triple dipped, quadruple dipped, whatever.
But they
I
announced that they were
bought
doing
all
that
of them.
beforehand.
I know, but still, it would not be surprising to me if this was a situation of the studio wanting to double dip, because they've got these deleted scenes. They're
Or-
going to use it for something of value.
Or they might be holding for streaming. Because when they put out Infinity War and Endgame on Disney Plus, they had more bonus content on the streaming service than they had on their physical media releases.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole situation where the disc that they said was going to have some deleted scenes on it, it doesn't actually have deleted scenes on it? Big deal, little deal, who cares? I only get the disc for the movie anyway. Whatever you guys think, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here in the John Campea Show? It's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime, 24/7, over to www.johncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This one comes from James Lockman about some breaking news we had yesterday during the show. Hey, John. Sadly, we are here again mourning the passing of another comedy icon, the great Gilbert Gottfried, at age 67. He was well known for his very distinctive voice, which was always a part of his act, and he used it so perfectly for a lot of animated voiceover projects like Aladdin. He was fantastic playing Iago, Jafar's sneaky and conniving sidekick. And even though he was only in one scene in Beverly Hills Cop 2, to me, was one of the most funny and memorable scenes in that film. I was shocked and saddened by this news.
As Chris just mentioned, it was yesterday during the final bit of the show that the word came out. Gilbert Gottfried's family announced on his Twitter account that he had passed away. So it was shocking to hear because I felt like it was yesterday, but I realized now it's probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I saw him doing stand-up, and it's like looked great and all that kind of stuff. So it was shocking to hear. It's one of those things that reminds me a lot about like when Robin Williams passed. You remember how many hours of your life you spent watching Aladdin. And I don't mean that facetiously. I mean, so many moments in good times and bad times, in hard times or sad times, you could pop on Aladdin as a kid, as a teen, as a young adult, as an adult, whatever, and it would make you smile and make you laugh and make you want to hum a tune and make you feel hopeful about the world and all that kind of stuff. And I remember the day that Robin Williams died, it was the first time that I ever got emotional over the death of a celebrity. A lot of it had to do with Aladdin, right? Gilbert Gottfried had one of the most iconic and identifiable voices in Hollywood. You'll never know if it's got Gilbert, right? Like he just had the best voice, and the voice matched with his ever smiling face while he was doing it. And yeah, one of the most iconic scenes in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise was that scene with Gilbert Gottfried. And so the Aladdin, and he appeared in other films as well. But as a stand-up comedian, the guy was hilarious. And he was courageous as a comedian to a fault. I mean, he would always push the boundaries of comedy. He was the first guy to do a 9/11 joke. And I remember, like, it made news when he did a 9/11 joke very not long after 9/11. And it was the first time I heard the phrase too soon, because you could hear the audience, if you watch the video footage, yelling too soon. But he would always do that. He would take things, because he had this philosophy, I heard him say once, that the way we as humanity can process things is to laugh. At tragedy, at sorrow, pain, we've got to be able to look it in the face and laugh and whatever. And I always thought that was a pretty profound thought of his as well. And I told you this the other day, a couple of you, but when I think of Gilbert Gottfried, and I know that this, I will be in the minority on this because not a ton of people have seen this. And we've talked about it a couple times. There was a documentary, a real documentary, not a mockumentary or anything, called The Aristocrats.
Yes.
And it is a documentary about a joke. And it is a joke that comedians know, and every comedian has their own version of the joke. It's the same intro, it's the same punchline, but what happens in between is up for the freewheeling, ad-lib comedians to do. And it is the most, what a comedian basically tries to do, for those of you who haven't seen this documentary, it's got all the top comedians in it, but is you do the most vulgar, dirty, like as whatever as you can go.
And his is the biggest.
And his is the best. Him and Bob Saget. Bob Saget's on it was also
so good.
Pretty damn good. Obviously, we cannot repeat any of it here.
You should also give our viewers a warning because it's on YouTube. You can see Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, but it's dirty.
It's so blue.
Wow. Wow.
But that was the thing.
It's got all the social taboos broken in that one.
But that's the thing, like the comedians, it's like, who can outgrow the other one? It's always who can top who, right? And so this whole thing is like all these comedians telling the exact same joke. And it never fails. Like you're going, but Gilbert Gottfried and that. I used to remember always was hilarious to me. Rob, with the passing of Gilbert Gottfried, when you look back on his life, how do you remember him most? From movies, voicing, stand-up comedy, certain appearances?
I mean, it was always ubiquitous. He appeared everywhere. But I actually tell you, I went back home right before I did Mailbag yesterday, and I watched that scene in Beverly Hills Cop. If I had something over here, you forgot what's in this hand, and you looked at what's over here in this hand. I'd forgotten that, and I realized I like Beverly Hills Cop, and I hadn't seen it in years, and it put a smile on my face. And then I watched his version of the Aristocrat joke because, oh my God, I'd forgotten just how filthy. Like just the stuff that comes out of his mouth in that joke, you're like, wow, wow. It might be the filthiest thing I've ever heard anyone's, because it's almost like 9 minutes long. Oh yeah, and there's an audio version and then there's also a video version, and it is filthy.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The basic setup to the joke is this: is that I think, is it a family of four or a family of four?
A
family walks into a talent agent. A mom and dad, a son and a daughter, and they say, "Well, we have an act. and we think it's really special. We think you can make us a star. And the talent agent's like, all right, do your act. Go ahead. Filthy, 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 filthy. Well, what's the name of your act? The Aristocrats. That's how it always. So that's always begins, ends. You saw the documentary,
I
Chris.
love the documentary.
What do you think now about the passing of Gilbert
For
Gottfried?
those playing at home, make sure that if you want to watch the Aristocats,
I
you
love
don't switch this.
I've seen that. I have
You don't
seen
want to
that many
accidentally pop on
times.
the wrong
It's like
one.
if you wanted to watch 28 Days versus like the
28
standard-
days
yeah.
later. Yeah.
So that's one of those things. I love that documentary so much. Gilbert Gottfried, I always think of Aladdin. I loved him as Iago. I'm a big fan too of Return of Jafar. I think it's wonderful. It was Disney's very, very first straight to VHS film, and it's kind of what launched all of those movies, which for the most part usually were very subpar, but Return of Jafar was great. It was really good. He's even great in things like Problem Child too. Like he's
Oh
wonderful
my
in that
God.
film. He's an incredible performer, and it's wild too to know that he was still just making these great jokes, really thriving still while he was fighting this kind of degenerative muscular disorder that gave him complications with his heart, and he was still during this time making people laugh. Conan O'Brien brought up, he had this great joke back in the 80s, just this bold joke of he came out to applause and said thank you, but then kept saying thank you for 10 minutes. Just was like, thank you, no, thank you. And that's all he did. and a lesser comedian would not just chew up that stage time, and he just would commit to bits. And I love that about him.
Just to be specific, they report that he passed away from a condition known as myotonic dystrophy type 2, which is a form of muscular dystrophy.
Yeah.
That he had been struggling with for a lot of years. Anyway, Aaron, you heard about the passing of Gilbert Gottfried. When you look back at his career and his life, what will stand out to you?
That fucker cost me a car. That fucker cost me a car.
How so?
Because when I first moved to Los Angeles, I went to the bookstore that used to be on Sunset Boulevard that sadly is no longer there. Samuel French Bookstore. It was basically like church for actors.
Yeah.
And I bought a book
Right
that's
by
like,
the Coach and Horses pub.
yeah, exactly. And where you get the hot dogs. And I got this book that was like, this is what you do when you're starting out as an actor. And, you know, there was a whole chapter on ways to support yourself before you're making money, big bucks on a series. And one of them was go on a game show. Maybe you'll win $100,000. So I went on Hollywood Squares and I got chosen.
Sorry, wait, what?
What?
You were on Hollywood Squares?
Come
I
on.
was on Hollywood Squares. Reba was the center square. Martin Mull was there. Gilbert fucking Gottfried was there.
How do we not know this?
And
Love
I
Martin Mull.
made it to, like, you know, I made it down. It was between me and this guy. He was a school teacher, you know, father of two, whatever. And it
So
was
it's completely undeserving.
totally undeserving. You know?
Yeah, but you're a poor actress.
I was a poor actress. I fucking deserve a car before this school teacher,
Yeah.
father of two. And so I'm gonna win the car. And Martin Mull was on my side. And there was some question. And then Gilbert Gottfried he did this thing where you had to guess whether or not they were telling the truth and whatever. And he went on a 10-minute diatribe convincing me that what Martin Mull was saying was not the truth. And I should have looked at Martin, but Gilbert was like, come on, Aaron, you gotta believe me. Come on, I'm telling you the truth. I used to work there. I know it. You gotta believe me. You're a sucker if you don't believe me. You're crazy. I'm trying to win you this car, Aaron. I'm here for you. I'm gonna get you this car, Aaron. You're gonna believe me.
This is so perfect.
And obviously, I would go, I believe Gilbert Gottfried. And they were like, congratulations, school teacher, father of two. You won a car. And I was like, fuck you, Gilbert Gottfried. You cost me a car.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. So for years, I was like, fuck Gilbert Gottfried. Fuck them. I want a car. And then ultimately what I realized was he wasn't taking a car from me. He was making sure that a school teacher and a father of two got
a
the car.
Yeah.
Which
You tell yourself that.
and so, you know, So my own selfishness many years ago made me angry at Gilbert Gottfried. But eventually, I went to church. I slowed down my drinking. I crawled out from under the bridge I was living in. I stopped shooting up. And I finally decided, you know what? That was probably the right move. So R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried. Thank you for making the right decision and totally steering me off track.
He would like to know that he self-actualized you.
That's
Good.
He did. I owe my entire resurrection to Gilbert Gottfried not letting me win on Hollywood Squares.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. With the passing of the great Gilbert Gottfried, what do you guys think about? What stands out to you when you first hear his name? I think for a lot of us, it's going to be Aladdin, but maybe it's Beverly Hills Cop. Maybe it's a stand-up routine you saw him do. Maybe it was Hollywood Squares. Maybe it's the Aristocrats. Whatever it is, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Peloton. Now listen, in the never-ending quest to try to stay in shape, one of the keys is to vary up your workout and your exercises to make sure you avoid losing your motivation and keep from getting burnt out from doing the same thing over and over again. Peloton has you covered. I know for me, one of the keys was getting my Peloton tread and using the Peloton app to get my varied workouts in. And Peloton just keeps pushing you forward with new classes, new music, new ways to keep your workouts fun and motivating. One of the newer offerings that has me personally really excited is their boxing classes. Peloton is stepping into the ring with its newest discipline, and you don't even have to have any gloves. Discover a fast, furious, and fun workout with Peloton instructors in your corner. Even if you've never boxed before, these classes will have you working up a sweat while working on the fundamentals of form, footwork, and fun combos that will keep you on your toes. Peloton has a workout for every day and every kind of schedule. So guys, right now, visit onepeloton.com to learn more. That's onepeloton.com. That's fine, Ray. No, that's fine. And thank you to our friends at Peloton for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea. Ray just came walking in here and goes, yo, I'm going to open up another bottle of aviation. Well, I got an open bottle here. Oh, no, I already opened it. He just said as he walked out.
I want him to bring me a cup.
And thank you again to the good folks at Peloton. I do love my Peloton for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2, shall we? Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This comes from Notorious GTR. Good Wednesday, crew. I get it. I know the likelihood of Doctor Strange 2 getting an R rating was always unlikely. But watching all the trailers and clips, I thought there could be a chance it could. Besides, looking bonkers, it also looks extremely violent. So my question is, do you think with the official PG-13 rating that we shouldn't expect too much violence from the movie? What do you guys think?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, listen, this is a conversation that comes up all the time whenever a movie. Everybody, for some reason, always expects or wants their comic book movies to be rated R. For some inexplicable reason, thinking that dropping more F-bombs will suddenly make the movie better or whatever. But be that as it may, whatever. I get what you're saying, though, because you would be forgiven. Look, we all knew Doctor Strange 2 was going to be rated PG-13. And for those of you who did not see, the official news did drop. Doctor Strange officially got its PG-13 rating from the MPA, the Motion Picture Association. It's now official PG-13. We all knew that. But to be fair to you, you could be forgiven if watching the trailers and some of the clips, you thought that, oh, maybe this thing could be an R thing, because you're not wrong. It looks stupid violent. I think it looks really, really violent. From, a lot of stuff like the sword blades, whatever, a lot of blood, whatever. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. You would be forgiven of that. Now, the question then becomes, do we need to be worried at all about how much there will or will not be as far as violence in this thing, considering it's PG-13? And I would say, I don't think we have to worry about a lack of violence in this movie. Look, we've seen, like, love or hate Morbius. There's a lot of violence in Morbius. Yeah. There's a lot of violence in Morbius. Love or hate, Venom, there's a lot of violence in Venom. And Venom 2. And things like that. In Doctor Strange, I think you're going to be dealing with a lot of interdimensional monsters, robots, an unspeakable number of other potential things. Maybe even damn dinosaurs. We saw dinosaurs in one of the things, right? And one of the things that we've known about the MPA and ratings for a long time is, just go back to that, I can't remember if it was whichever crappy Transformers movie it was. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 or 4. But literally, Optimus Prime pulls a giant sword out of his arm and literally starts decapitating, running Decepticons through the gullet and then decapitating them with one swings. Guess what? PG-13, because in TV shows and movies, you can kill whatever you want as long as it's not people.
Yeah, that's just robot violence.
Yeah, robots, aliens, creatures of the night, whatever, you can kill them with absolute impunity when it comes to the ratings board. It doesn't matter. You can do that. And I think there's going to be a lot of that in Doctor Strange. Now, also going back to, say, like something like Morbius and the Venom movies, in those movies, there's a lot of violence against people, but you just don't get blood splatter. And as long as you don't do blood splatter, they're pretty okay with giving you a PG-13. So I would say this. I think we can pretty much guarantee we're not going to see Doctor Strange and Rachel McAdams rubbing uglies. PG-13 probably not going to get that. Boo. You're not going to hear America Chavez dropping 18 F-bombs. Okay, but as far as the violence goes, I don't think we should lower our expectation quota for violence in this at all. I don't think this really means anything about that at all. Anyway, Chris, it's official. It is what we expected. It's a PG-13.
Yeah.
Do you think that puts any kind of limitation on it from outside of stuff we'd be expecting anyway?
Not at all, because we can murder all kinds of fantastical beings. Right. Oh my gosh. We can go totally bananas with the violence here, as long as the blood doesn't bleed red. That's really the big thing. That's why Morbius, with its lack of blood or blue blood Capri Suns or whatever the hell that was, they could do whatever they wanted, right? We'd even hear like the gush of stuff. We just wouldn't see the blood, which was very, very interesting. So we can do a whole bunch of things here with Doctor Strange. You know, we can have a whole bunch of different multiversal beasts showing up. All the different things we saw with kind of that sinister Strange, right? And the what if. We can have all those kind of weird Cthulhu-y things show up, and he can be chopping off tentacle arms and doing all kinds of stuff. Wanda could be covered in blood. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But as long as we're not seeing it pour out of somebody and her just putting all over herself, a la Carrie, you can have that in there.
A la Carrie.
You can do so much stuff without showing the R-rated level of violence. And honestly, I would argue that most of the time your imagination is going to be worse than the actual thing you would see. It goes back to women in refrigerator syndrome, right? When you see that image of a few limbs hanging out of the fridge, that's so much more terrifying than if we had actually seen somebody dismembered in that Green Lantern comic.
What area of town do you live in?
I know. I'm like, what is happening in your refrigerator?
Hey, Aaron, you hear about this. Any surprise at all about the PG-13 rating, and does it cause any concerns for you?
No, not at all. I mean, all it tells me is we're not going to see anybody's nipple, man or woman. And the level of violence, even when it comes to blood. I mean, if you look at some of the more violent films where we're talking about Dark Knight, Jaws, those are PG/PG-13 movies. You know, Taken, one of the most terrifying and gruesome, not gruesome, but terrifying films that I've seen in the last several, decades, for what it just does to the system. Gremlins was PG. I mean, there's so many movies that are terrifying or that show a lot of blood, like Jaws does. But again, it all depends on, I think, the context of where we're living now. Like if Airplane, for example, had come out, Airplane, the movie that was in I believe the 70s, there's a lot of sexual innuendo. There's even a little bit of nudity. We actually do get to see some nipples in that one, I believe.
1980.
I love that you know that right off the top of your head. There's language. That was a PG movie. But at that time, there were certain things that were a little bit more accepted than they were now. Who knows? Perhaps we're going to have some sort of crucible-like time period in the future where violence is so vehemently opposed that movies like The Dark Knight or movies like Doctor Strange that do have a certain level of violence, whether it's to humans or to intergalactic beings, will be looked down upon and 30 years, people might go, can you believe that wasn't rated R? But it's not a shock right now. This is just what audiences are used to seeing and what they're expecting to see.
And in the UK and some European countries, they do look at violence a little bit differently and will give a stiffer rating. By the way, Matrick Brunick in the live chat points out to us, hey, in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer, we do get some Benedict Cumberbatch nipple.
What?
Oh, yeah, he wakes up in bed.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, you can
Topless?
show dude nipple.
Oh, yeah, dude nipple all over the place. Dude nipple for miles.
Well, then we should be able to see lady
practically
nipple.
the subtitle of the movie. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange
nipple.
Madness,
dude nipple.
Yeah.
All right. Rob, you hear about this. Any surprise, any concern? What do you think? And did you ever think that maybe there could have been a chance it could have been rated R?
No, look, it for me, it's, and I think for the ratings board, it's all about tone. How is this violence presented? Now, as Chris pointed out, when you have mystical beings or mystical beasts, there's no chance that this is going to happen in the real world. So when you're watching this kind of thing, you're not being subjected to the horrors of, say, real violence. But now you do the flip side. You go to watch like Miyazarchi's I Spit on Your Grave, the original.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, the level of violence, physical, sexual, is awful. And it's presented in a very realistic fashion. It's incredibly disturbing to watch. When you're watching Doctor Strange, you're not thinking that way. Even though, you know, there's a giant, whether it's a Cthulhu-like demon or whether it's a guy with a third eye or his flesh is decaying off him, zombie, Strange, whoever, you're not hit viscerally the way you would be if you're watching, say, you know, people running on the beach and Saving Private Ryan, getting gunned down by Nazi bullets. And it's very, very different. Even the difference in something like an X-Men movie and Logan. You know, Logan presents Wolverine unleashed and the actual act of watching his adamantium claws penetrating flesh and killing dudes with blood splattering. That's a very different thing because it's brought home what is actually happening. And I think that all around Doctor Strange, you've got so much fantastical, even the colors of the color palette of the movie is such that it's got an unreality to it. So it casts a spell that doesn't allow it.
What you did there. Okay.
It's not like it is watching more viscerally presented realistic violence. And I think that that's a big part of it.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I think probably 99% of you are expecting it to be PG-13, but it does have a lot of horror elements in it too and stuff like that. Maybe you thought it could have been rated R. Does it make you temper your expectations? Probably not, but whatever your thoughts are, jump on down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This comes from JQ. I just finished watching Moon Knight, and man, it was great. The action keeps getting better. We keep getting more Khonshu, more Mark and Steven interactions, and maybe, most importantly, a better look into the gods. What did you guys think about the episode, and do you think it can keep up the pace for the second half of the season? Thanks.
All right, thanks for saying that in, JQ. And I just want to remind you, we are going to be doing our Moon Knight open spoiler discussion after show later today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want us to talk about and discuss with us all in open spoilery goodness, everything about the episode, come on back and join us at that time. Right now, we're going to talk about it in non-spoiler terms. But Moon Knight, episode 3, last night, comes out. I got to tell you, for me, it is not missing a beat. I loved this episode. There was one big issue I had with the episode. One big issue. And I'll refer to that vaguely in a minute. But let me talk about the things that I loved about it. I love the fact that in this episode, remember back in episode 1, there is that stuff where Steven, he's finding himself, he wakes up in this foreign country and he gets himself in trouble and then blacks out and wakes up and he's in some kind of other weird situation. And then as soon as his life is in danger, he blacks out because we know Steven's taking control. I love the fact that in this episode, they flip the switch on that. They completely flip the coin where Mark's in control and then he blacks out and wakes back up and finds that Steven got him into something else or whatever. I thought that was really fun. I thought that was great. We also, we've been speculating about, is a third personality going to be hinted at more? They touch on that. I do love the fact that we're getting to know Khonshu more. I love that. I loved, this was the globe-trotting national treasure kind of episode in a way. We got to know a lot more about Layla. We're getting more of her background, the background of her and Mark's relationship. This one kind of became not only a little bit of national treasure, but maybe a little bit of Da Vinci Code as well, trying to solve a puzzle and a mystery that leads to something and whatever. I mean, I loved this episode, and I thought the action was probably the best action we've seen in the show so far. Loved it. Now, I will say this. There is a scene in the movie, in the episode, that is a prolonged scene that involves, how do I say this vaguely? A trial, if you will. And there are many elements of this trial that I thought were so cool. But the basic tenet of the trial, I was sitting there screaming at the TV, why don't you just say this? Why wouldn't you just say that? How would that guy not know this? And, you know, all that stuff. And so for that moment of the episode, which was a key moment of the episode, I found that, man, there are 20 different ways you could have done this part of the episode better. Like 20 different ways you could have done this episode, part of the episode better. But I got to say, for me, outside of that one moment, aside from that one element of the show, I absolutely loved it. I was completely loved it. Me, Ray, Ryan, and we were watching last night, and we were just going, oh my God, like I just can't believe some of the stuff that they're doing. And of course was the episode, I'm forgetting the actor's name, who passed away prior, the dude on the horseback. We talked about on the show a few months ago that one of the actors in the series passed away tragically. I think it was a skiing accident, if I remember properly.
Gaspard Ulliel?
Yes, that's it. And so his character was in this episode, and when he popped up on screen, it's like, oh, like it was kind of a warming moment for that for me. But yeah, for me personally, loved it. Can't wait to talk about it in the open spoiler discussion later this afternoon. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance. Now, you have been loving this series. A couple episodes in, you saw the episode, the new one. What did you think about it?
I have very mixed feelings about this episode because it seemed to me, how do I say this, John? Everyone knows I love Moon Knight. But this iteration of Moon Knight, especially this episode, it seemed like Moon Knight is now a secondary character in his own show. That this show has now become about Khonshu. Now, if you read about Khonshu as Khonshu, like when I first read Moon Knight was basically a Batman clone. And the allusions to Khonshu was not real. You know, Mark thought that Khonshu might have had something to do with his resurrection, but there was no entity yet. And over the years, they've leaned into the gods, and if you just go read the Marvel Wikipedia, I'm sure, Marvel or Earth 616, and read about Khonshu. I mean, Khonshu has had armies of Moon Knight that have been taken through history. You know, it's insane. It's Lord of the Rings level lore for Khonshu. I was hoping that they wouldn't go that way. I was hoping that they would pull back on it. And I was kind of hoping the focus would stay on Steven and Mark and all that. Now, the jury's still out. It's not that I thought the episode was beautiful. Like you said, the action was great. I love seeing Moon Knight kick ass. I really liked Gaspar Ulliel. Is that
Ulliel? I don't.
I like that. I liked seeing that. Like the archaeologists. I like Layla and him having to go there. All that was very cool. But adding in not just Khonshu, but this pantheon of the Egyptian gods, the Mount Olympus of these Egyptian gods has suddenly taken the show, in my mind, in a completely different direction that adds another monstrously huge cosmology to the MCU. And I'm like, okay, well, how does this relate back to our story of Mark Spector? I was kind of hoping this would have stayed more of a Fight Club-esque character study in Mark and Steven and what's happening. Now it's become something much grander and totally different that I think strains credulity a bit. Now, hang on. That doesn't mean, because I do think that what we're seeing is not entirely exactly what's going on. But for me, beautifully done. I love the way it looked. And I got to say, I loved the whole, I don't want to use spoilers, but it has something to do with the sky and the stars. And it's I loved it. I was like, I love that.
That was very cool.
I loved all that. But for me, I just hope that the focus doesn't move away from our Moon Knight character. And I felt this episode, it really did.
See, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on that, and I'd like to know what you would say to this, because I think you'd agree that if you actually counted screen time, Mark and Steven are on the screen far more than Khonshu, right? I kind of felt like by going a bit more, like, I don't think you can understand Moon Knight, or at least I feel as an audience member, I don't really have a proper full understanding of Mark and Steven and their predicament and what they're in, unless we know more about Khonshu and the context that Khonshu is in is motivating him. So to me, even, and just for myself, even the Khonshu stuff in it, to me, was all about developing my understanding of Mark and Steven and what's going on with them. At least that was my kind of feel.
I don't disagree with that at all, but I think they've gone in a, and again, I'll wait. It's only we're halfway through, but they've gone completely pedal to the metal into all of this Egyptian god lore and all that, which is not necessarily how Moon Knight began. I mean, it's an iteration of Moon Knight. I always have preferred Moon Knight as his own entity. I mean, because Khonshu, you could do a whole show about Khonshu's history in the Marvel Universe and not even have Moon Knight in it, even though Moon Knight's a big part of it because he's always had a vessel for his vengeance. But Khonshu as a whole, it's a fine line. The jury's still out for me. Still enjoyed watching it.
Aaron, you had a chance, I'm assuming, to watch the newest episode of Moon Knight. I know you've been watching it. What did you think, without spoiling anything, of course, what did you think about the newest episode? And how's Tom been liking it?
Tom has not started it yet.
I'm shocked.
I know.
I
know. He's.
Is it just baby duty? Is that the thing?
Tom is. He has started a writing project that has been very consuming. I and so he has been. I will give him a great deal of credit between being dad of the friggin' year and his writing project. He has very much limited his screen time. So I'm proud of him for that. But he definitely is planning on catching up. But I agree with both of you. I loved last night / this morning's episode because I thought it was so beautiful. And I like seeing more of Khonshu because before, in previous episodes, he's kind of been like this quick flash, or he's been seen in a smoky mirror or almost as a mirage. And he's been very ghost-like, almost as an apparition. But now we're actually seeing him, sitting or just being there and being a presence and having, being able to have a conversation. So just from a technical perspective, I mentioned earlier in the show that I love seeing the behind the scenes and how they made that. I love seeing something that before was a very smoke and mirrors type of image to be a stagnant image where I can actually look at the details and go, wow, that character is actually beautifully done. Like he's still scary even when he's not appearing as this, ghostly image. I really like the way that Khonshu is just portrayed, and I like the development of him as a character only because it not only tells us what Mark and Steven are going through, but also I feel like it helps with Harrow's character as well. Because the whole episode, I felt, was not just, and again, no spoilers, was not just about the conflict between Mark and Steven, which I agree with you. I want it to stay on that track. I agree with Rob. I like that track. But I did like the fact that Harrow, we're seeing more of what makes him tick through his memories of what it was like when he was with, when Khonshu was using him as his avatar. And so I actually didn't mind it so much. I did think that it was interesting in the trial that the people were very poorly lit. And I went, oh, I bet they did that in case they want to make those characters much bigger in the universe. They can go ahead and cast like huge stars and they don't have to worry about hiring them as a one-day guest star for this episode. That was where my mind goes.
Well, I to speak to this, I got to give it up for Oscar Isaac's performance.
Oh, yeah.
Because there were moments where he went between Steven and Mark immediately.
Especially at one point he's looking in the mirror and just, that was a great moment.
Even on it, the close-up on his face, when he does the transition from one to the other and the camera never moves off of him, there's no effects, and also when he's being possessed and Khonshu is speaking through him, when he would do that.
Yeah, this, one,
I don't want- I won't say-
details. Yeah,
But the way he would go into that character and come out of that character was really impressive.
I also thought it was really beautiful just seeing the imagery of even it is sad that it was not filmed in Egypt. Mohammed Diab, the director, who is the first Arab director to direct a Marvel project, he really wanted to film this in Egypt and make it true to Egypt, but apparently couldn't get the permits and blah blah blah. So they ended up filming a lot of this in Budapest, Hungary.
Yeah.
They said that their production team did a lot of work to make this look as authentic to current modern day Egypt as possible. And I found that really fascinating, and I loved to see the depiction of Egypt through the eyes of an Arab director who was very committed to making it look like what we see in Egypt right now.
I was gonna say one part of the episode that I nearly spit up the popcorn I was eating when it happened. I won't give any context to it. I'll just say what the line is. No context. You'll have no idea what we're talking about if you haven't seen it. But Khonshu says, "Huh? I really thought he would talk." I nearly died. Because I was eating some cheddar popcorn, and I like little kernel bits. Like I nearly died. I laughed so hard. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to watch the Moon Knight episode. What did you think of episode 3?
I'm more on Rob's side here. This is a very exposition heavy episode. And we obviously have to get through a lot of things because the first few episodes have been very, what the hell is going on? We've got a lot of ground to cover. We do have to have this kind of Da Vinci Code element come in here. It's very Indiana Jones in this one, but I'm much more interested in the character development in this show. I do think some of the choices in the trial were weird, particularly the difference in acting styles between the folks in the trial. I won't get too into that. But what I love about this is we see Layla just being a badass. We learn so much more about her. And there is a line that connects this to the greater MCU that has really, really great world building potential here. And I won't go into that, but there's just one little line that really goes, oh, okay, this is definitely part of everything. These things are tied together. These characters probably know each other, which is really, really fun. I also kind of disagree about Khonshu just because like seeing him in the light of day is not my favorite. That's where like CGI is hard with like really, really bright lighting.
The moon's not out.
Well, yeah. And that's when he just looks more like
I love the look of Khonshu. I do.
I like him cloaked in
daylight.
There's one other thing that this is going to seem a little esoteric, but I felt this way about Loki as well. They're introducing these concepts. The MCU has a certain grounding to it. With all the craziness that happens, they've made us believe between Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, we believe these characters could exist. The only times now, even Thanos and the Snap and all of the planets, I believe everything. I think both Loki and the way the Time Variance Authority is portrayed, and now we've seen the pantheon of Egyptian gods and the way they're interacting. I think that there's a danger that they're pushing the MCU too far into the it seems so funny to say this, but too far into the fantasy realm, where I'm now wondering, with the Time Variance Authority, did they go too far? I mean, this is all from the comics, but in the comics it works. But do I believe that the Avengers, as depicted as we've seen them, what if they came up, and by the way, they have in the comic, what if they come up against, Khonshu took over New York City once. So what would happen then? But in the context of the MCU, I worry that the weight of this could be crushing in a not good way to the greater MCU.
I've said for a while that one of my concerns, now not about Moon Knight specifically, but I've said before several times that one of my worries about there's the law of diminishing returns. One of my worries is that they have to make the MCU more and more and more and more and more fantastical. That's one of the reasons why I don't like some of the stuff that they're doing now. So, to me though, Moon Knight seems lesser than a planet of Nordic gods. It's still, but so I don't know.
But to me, those are just aliens using science.
Sure.
So they seem like gods. These are actual supernatural, because we haven't seen like Blade come in here. We haven't seen, we've seen Agatha Harkness, and we haven't seen a lot of the supernatural. This is full on supernatural craziness.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think of Moon Knight episode 3? I personally loved it. Not everybody did. Maybe you loved it. Maybe you didn't. Maybe it's somewhere in between. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, we're going to go over to another sponsor of ours. These guys are great because sometimes you don't have the time, the energy, effort to put together your meals, stuff like that, but you want to eat great and eat well. Thank you to our sponsors at HelloFresh. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. So guys, look, my wife Ann and I were both working professionals, so we know how tricky, difficult, and time-consuming it can be to try to eat properly and prepare your own meals at home. And that's why, like over a year ago, we started using HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. I mean, you skip the trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and probably most importantly, affordable. HelloFresh offers the flexibility you need to easily customize your orders online or right in the app. Easily change your delivery day, food preferences, and plan size, or skip a week whenever you need to. HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the exact same quality, and you can save on average over $65 a month when you order HelloFresh instead of going grocery shopping. So guys, I'm telling you, whether you are single or have a family, you are going to love HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the promo code Campea16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's again, HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use that promo code Campea16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. And again, a big thank you to the folks at HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's move into main topic number 4, shall we? Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This is from Amal. John, yes, please do your chart for the Doctor Strange cameos. I think my picks will be Mr. Fantastic, Captain Marvel, and Bruce Banner. Thank you for all you do. I've been watching for 4 years now, and I love the show. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Amal. Appreciate that very much. And yes, yesterday on the John Campea Shows, we were talking about Doctor Strange. We said, you know what? We've done this for a couple of the other shows. We should do a breakdown of a little chart, if you will, of the potential cameos and what we think the likelihood, however big or small, the likelihood of those cameos coming to pass. And I thought it might be a good idea for us to jump in and do that. So we said we would do that yesterday, and that's what we're going to do. Now, here's how it's going to work. We are going to bring up a potential cameo, and then Rob, Chris, and I, Erin's recusing herself from this one here. Rob, Chris, and I will give it 1 of 5 ratings. Either a no, possibly, 50-50, likely, or absolutely. So instead of just giving the numeric values, because I find too often we say 100 or 0. So instead of just giving numeric values, we're going to say either we're going to mention a potential cameo. We will each give it either a no, a possibly, 50-50, likely, or absolutely. And those are the ratings we're going to give it. So with that down, let's get into it here, shall we? We're going to start off with one that I brought up the other day. We're going to start off with Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Now, I was a little bit more sure about this yesterday. I'm going to lower it a little bit, and I'm going to give this one not a no, but I'm going to give it a possibly. I'm not going to go as high as a 50-50 on this one, but I think Ben Affleck is Daredevil possibly. Chris, what would you give it?
Hard no.
Hard no. Just
Yeah.
not going to happen on that one.
I don't think so.
Rob,
I'm going to give it a possibly like you.
you're going to give it a possibly as
Yeah.
well? What do you think? Why hard no?
I think he's just, he's got to do all of his Batman stuff. I think audiences are already too confused about who the heck is Batman. He shows up as Daredevil. We're all going to be like, what the hell is happening?
Could it be, you know what? I didn't get treated right over there at DC. I'm going to show you what I can do over at Marvel.
That's fair.
And I was Daredevil before too. I know. So there's, okay. What do you guys think in the live chat? Talk amongst yourselves. What do you think about that? All right. Now we're going to go over to Captain Carter. To me, I'm going to go with the absolutely on this. Now, look, just because Captain Carter's, a reflection of Captain Carter's shield is in the poster, that doesn't mean 100%, but I think it's close to it. So I don't think you put that shield in there if you're not going to have her in there. So that's why I'm going to go with the A on that. Absolutely. Chris, what about you?
A for absolutely.
You're going to go A for absolutely. Rob?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Well, because I think that the response that you got from her in What If, I think they know that I mean, come on, there's a hot toy that's going to be made of her. That everyone likes Agent Carter. You know, I think people wanted to have her in, and she's, after all, Steve Rogers' love interest. Haley Atwell's been in part of the MCU for a long time. I'm sure she's beloved by the people that actually make these movies, and she looks, well, I want to see the live action version of her because that costume is badass.
Well, I think it's going to be animated. I don't even think it's going to be live action, but you think it could be live action?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. All right. You think it's going to be live action too?
I think so too.
So I think it's going to be animated. I think they're going to do animated on that. All right. Next one. We're going to talk about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. All right. Hugh Jackman has said directly for years and years and years and years, he's done. That Logan thing, the movie Logan was the perfect send-off. I'm done. But this is Multiverse of Madness. So I'm going to go as high as a possibly, like under 50-50, but I'm going to go as high as a possibly that maybe they could talk him into it. Chris, what do you think about the idea of Hugh Jackman Wolverine's popping up and why?
Possibly, especially if he could hold it over Ryan's head and be like, guess who's in this one, motherfucker?
Guess who got in the MCU before you did?
Exactly.
Rob, what do you think?
What is above 50-50?
Likely.
I'm going to go with likely.
You're going to go
And
that high?
I'll tell you why. Because in Logan, it was Xavier and Logan were together. And I think that dynamic, this could be pre-Logan, call it what you want, but Hugh Jackman does not have to get, well, jacked to play Logan in this movie. We're not going to see him without his shirt off. He's not going to come in, with adamantium claws blazing. He can be wearing a black suit like he wore in The Wolverine when he went to Japan. And him and Xavier have this relationship. I could absolutely imagine seeing Hugh Jackman, because I'd love to see more interaction with him and Patrick Stewart, and they could have a lot of fun together. I think he's going to be in it.
All right. And I mean, don't forget, we know that Patrick Stewart is going to be there. So, hey, that happens to that. All right. So 2 possiblies and a likely. Rob skipping way up there. All right. How about this one? Chris Evans is the Human Torch, the character he played in the Fantastic Four. This is a multiverse of madness. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go, as yummy as this is, I'm going to go no. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's I don't think Chris Evans would want to come back in the character. I'm not saying that it couldn't be a thought that crosses Kevin Feige's mind, but I don't see Chris Evans going for it. So I'm just going to go with the straight up no for Chris Evans as Human Torch. What about you, Chris?
I think it'd be hilarious, but no.
All right, you're going to go with the no. Rob, what about you?
Absolutely not, because it would break the fourth wall, and I think it would shatter the mood that they're trying to create.
All right, so we're going to go no on that. Well, let's stick with Chris Evans. What about his Cap? Chris Evans, Captain America, the greatest character we've had in the MCU up till now. See, this, like we talked about a story about 8 months ago where we've heard that Chris Evans isn't done with the MCU yet, that there was that report that came out of Deadline that he is actually very quietly signed a new deal to do something. Now, what that is or whatever, we don't know. But Chris Evans is Captain America. To even have somebody like Doctor Strange or Wanda, because remember how close Wanda was, like other than Clint, Cap is the one she's closest to. Obviously other than Vision, but so I'm going to go as high as a 50% chance. I'm going to say this is a 50-50 draw on this one of him showing up as Captain America. All right, Chris, what about you? Chris Evans is Captain America.
I'm going to say likely.
Oh, you're going to go higher than me.
Yeah, because we do know that, Peggy as Captain Carter does have Steve still in her life and all of those things. Like we see the character in What If, right? And also if we're going into some House of M territory, I think that also opens up Cap having lived his life, never receiving the serum, possibly seeing that version of him too.
Which is kind of a sort of a version that we got in the What If series, right? Mm-hmm. Rob, what do you think? The possibilities of Chris Evans as Captain America in this movie?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're going even higher.
Absolutely.
Why's that?
Because of Captain Carter's presence. I don't think their relationship is too important to the MCU. I think you know what? We've never seen a scene in live action with them together other than them dancing like that. I think that we're going to see, but we're going to see them together somehow.
All right. Let's move on to this
Their
one.
love endures.
A lot of rumors about this one. Deadpool. Of course, we know Deadpool is coming into the MCU. That's a understood fact. Going to be the one and probably only R-rated thing that Marvel does. A lot of talk about Deadpool showing up in this. I am going to give this one an absolute no. And I'll say this, and I probably shouldn't, but he damn well better not be, because I told everybody there was zero chance that Deadpool was going to be in this. And the reason I told people that there was a zero chance was because the guy who gave me this gin told me that Deadpool was not going to be in this. So I'm going to go with no, Deadpool is not in this, but I continue to hear rumors, so it better be no. Anyway, Chris, what do you think? Deadpool in this movie?
I think one of the reasons why this little booze genie gave us all this gin is because maybe he's a liar. I don't know. Are you? So I'm gonna go just middle of the road, 50-50 on this one.
You're going to go 50 on this one. Okay. Rob, what about you? Awkward silence.
I'm going to go with Chris on this because I'll tell you something. What character represents madness or mirth or like, and I would love to see Stephen Strange and Wade trade some words, trade some barbs. And I can only imagine just the lines of dialogue just between the two of them, sizing each other up, putting each other down, and even if it's only for a minute, and Deadpool's like, where the hell am I? What is this? Something. I think he's going to be in the movie. And if he's not in the proper version, if he's not in the movie proper, he's going to be in an end credit sequence. Or if we've thought, if Wanda does bring back the mutants, he's going to be in that scene.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm going to continue to believe that nope, zero chance. He ain't going to be in it. Because damn it, that's what I was told. All right. Loki. Now we're talking about the multiverse of madness. We got introduced to, again, there's some big question marks. What's the difference between multiverse, true multiverse, and whatever it was they talked about in Loki? There's a lot of discussion because there's some apparent contradictions, but whatever it is, it's still kind of similar, at least in theme, right? So Loki popping up in this. Listen, Tom Hiddleston's a popular character in these things. I don't think we've heard anything about it, but I'm going to go as high as a possible. Possible, not 50-50, but I'll go possible that Loki pops up in this. Chris, what about you?
I'm going to say no. And I only think that because I think seeing him now will cheapen the moment where he's reunited with Thor.
Oh, okay. All right. Rob, what about you? Loki popping
I'm
up.
with Chris on this one.
You're going to know.
There's a Thor movie coming out 2 months after this. So why shoot your wad?
That being said, didn't we have like a Black Panther movie and an Infinity War movie that came out just months apart?
Yep.
Okay, but still, this is a little bit different than with Loki and the brother angle there. All right, how about this one? Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire?
I had to
Either.
take a moment and I was like, why would that cat be in this movie?
Garfield the cat, voiced by Bill Murray.
Zero gin. I'm still like, it's that cat who likes lasagna.
Bill
Where's
Murray.
that lasagna?
You know what? Considering that, although very, very briefly, these two Spider-Men and Doctor Strange have met very, very loosely and briefly in Spider-Man No Way Home, nonetheless, I'm still going to go no. I don't think we're going to see them. I think, look, we've already have enough connection to Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't think they need another one. So I'm going to go with a straight up no on this. Chris, what about you?
I think we'd see Andrew. Or no, excuse me, scratch that. I think we'd see Toby and not Andrew. If that happens. So I'd go 50-50.
Really? You think there's a full 50% chance we get one of these guys?
I think there's opportunity for a nice moment of Strange being like, ugh, you again. And then Cool Pastor being like, you called me, man. I don't know.
50% chance, Rob?
I think 50%, and I'll tell you why. I think that Tobey Maguire hasn't been working as much as he might have liked. And he said, you got to throw me a ball. I'll be in your Spider-Man movie, but you got to throw me something else. give me something, give me a little taste that I could do kind of at the same time. I think that he probably was on set. Hey, man, you want to come be in Spider? Yes, I do. Andrew Garfield's a little busy, but I'll do it.
Question, though, with that spell, when it was like, no one will remember Peter Parker, are we specifically talking about that Peter Parker or Peter Parkers in general? So will Steven remember any Peter Parkers?
The Peter Parker spell, the original one, affected the other Peter Parkers.
Yeah.
So I got to assume the counter spell probably affected the other Peter Parkers in the same way. So, I mean, Peter still knows he's Peter.
So then this could open up an opportunity, though, for like, no, remember you did this whole thing of like, what the fuck? And then they have to go find little baby Spider-Man.
Yeah, because Doctor Strange himself wouldn't remember this. That's true, too. All right. How about this? Either the Ray Stevenson or Thomas Jane Punisher. Either the Ray Stevenson or the Thomas Jane Punisher. While this was brought up the other day, and I love the idea, I am going to give it a flat no. I think if they're going to do any Punisher stuff, that's bringing in a Punisher from another reality. We've got one of those right now with John Bernthal in his Netflix reality kind of thing. So I'm going to say no, because if they do it, it would probably be Bernthal.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think?
I would like this very much, but no.
You're going to go with the no on this as well, Rob?
Big no for me, good buddy.
Okay, no's all the way around for the Ray Stevenson Jane. Now, how about this? He is in the MCU canon. Edward Norton's as Dr. Banner Hulk. Now remember, a lot of people forget this. Edward Norton's Hulk is not from another reality, another dimension. He is the MCU. He is the Mark Ruffalo Hulk. They just changed actors. A lot of people forget that. I am sticking with my no, just because, again, it was not a friendly divorce between Edward Norton and Marvel over how Hulk went and all that kind of stuff. I still think that sticks very much in both of their craws. I don't see it happening, so I'm going to go with no on this. Chris?
No, they're not going to stick together for the kids. They're not going to reunite.
Rob?
I'm going to go with a possibly.
Possibly. Why is that?
Well, because I think it would be kind of cool if there's a scene where the David Banners are both looking at each other, or the Bruce Banners, David Banner, the Bruce brothers, they're looking at each other, and there could be a really great moment where they're trying to reconcile one another because they both exist in the MCU. That could be a really cool acting moment, or something could have really interesting happened there that visually I think could be fun and neat. And I think, wouldn't it be cool if that happened?
All right, let's move on to the next one. We talked a little bit about Loki before. What about Kang? In any form you want, but understanding that we've got some stuff going with Kang there in Loki. We obviously have Kang coming up in Ant-Man 3. There's multiversal kind of stuff at play, time travel, whatever have you. I'm going to go only as high as possible. Because honestly, I think it would make no sense for them to put Kang in this movie whatsoever. But just because of the thematic similarities between what we had in the Loki series and here, I'm going to say not 50-50, but at least possible. Chris, what do you think?
I feel no.
You're going to go no on this?
Yeah, I mean, I know, chat, some of you are like, oh, post-credit. I don't think they're going to bring him in there.
All right, Rob?
He's Quantum Mania, so I think no.
You're going to go no on that?
I'm going to go no.
Okay, let's get on to the next potential candidate here. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Of course, he had his big I am Iron Man snap moment. Die, cry, weep, Pepper weeping. Everybody dies, he's gone. But I've always told you he's going to be back at some point. There can definitely be another alternate realities version of Tony's whatever. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to go likely. I'm not going to say absolute, but I think it is likely that Robert Downey Jr. makes an appearance in here as another universe's dimension version of Iron Man. So I'm going to go likely on this. Chris, what about you?
I'm going to go possibly, and it's mostly just for the heartbreak of Tom Holland's Spider-Man not getting to be around him.
All right.
Because that's going to break my little heart if he doesn't get to see his fake dad.
Well, I mean, I don't think Tom Holland's in this movie.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
And so if RDJ is in there and little Tom Holland's just off doing whatever, more Uncharted stuff, it's so sad.
More Uncharted stuff. Rob, what about you? Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
No.
No.
But I do think that Iron Man's going to be in this movie.
Well, that leads us
Played by someone else.
Well, that leads us into the next one. What about Tom Cruise as Iron Man?
Yep.
I'm going to go
100%.
I'm going to go
Ooh.
possibly.
I would go likely.
I'm going to go possibly, you're going to go likely, and Rob, you're going to go absolute.
All
Yep.
in.
'Cause why
Okay.
not?
Explain for why.
Well, you know, obviously the idea that Tom Cruise was going to play Iron Man all the way back, I think, in the 90s. And I think that Tom Cruise, look, if he had never played Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder, I would say no, he would never do something like this. I think Tom Cruise is at a stage in his life where he likes to have fun like this. And I'll go on the MTV Music Awards and dance like Les Grossman again. I'll go on the Graham Norton show and talk like Donald Duck. I think that Tom Cruise, if somebody came to him and said, would you do this? I think he's the kind of guy now in his life, hell yeah, give me some cool armor.
All right.
And it gives him an opportunity to be like, I got one more Mission Impossible movie in me. I could, do another franchise movie.
Okay.
He feels
so,
the need for Iron Man speed.
We've got a possibly for me. No no's on this one. We got a possibly for me, then one step up, a likely for Chris, and a big step up with an absolutely for Rob. I don't have this one written down, but the discussion about Iron Man is made me think about it. What about the possibility of Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard
Ooh.
as the two various versions of Rhodey?
Well, okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. Was it only scheduling for why Terrence was in the next
No.
film? It was
No.
negotiations, right?
No, I don't even know that it was just it probably did come down to money, but there was a lot of hurt feelings.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah. Because that's, again, I don't think that was an amicable split.
No, it wasn't.
And I don't think
but,
he'd show back up unless he
time
was
heals
like,
all wounds.
money heals all wounds.
Money
man.
heals more wounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what, though? Don Cheadle has become an MVP player in the movies. And I don't think that they would want to do that to him.
Is that doing something to him, though?
Yeah.
I think it is.
right.
I think it is. It's one thing. The thing is, Terrence Howard didn't carry a movie. That Ed Norton did a whole movie that he starred in as the Hulk. Terrence Howard was always a secondary player in one movie, and I liked him in the movie. But Don Cheadle has become that character throughout multiple films, and they're the same guy, I think. And Don Cheadle's such a well-respected actor, and I just don't think you'd do that to him.
Man, I don't like the notion of like the actor comes before the role or the movie or the story. I think if he's a professional, which he is, I don't think you'd look at that as you're doing this to me. Like it's.
I'm not saying that.
They're not replacing him.
No, but I think that it really depends. I mean, because there's a level of respect. Like Don Cheadle came in and replaced a dude that he probably knew, playing the same role. He's replacing him in an incredibly lucrative franchise, made a lot of money. And he's done a great job, and he's going to star in Armor Wars. He's doing a, new TV series.
New series.
I think that they would not broach that subject.
I know that I'm not part of this, but I'm going to say 100% N. Like that is not N for nipple. That is definitely not going to happen.
N for nipple.
Yeah, for part of what Robert said, but it's not even about like the actor coming before the role. It's about the fact that this is not a role like Spider-Man, Mr.
The Spiderman, all of them.
Yeah, it's not like Spider-Man where you're going in for a limited time. I'm going to take on the role of Spider-Man for a period of time from this other person, and then someone else is going to take that, take that role from me. This is a role that was always supposed to be Terrence Howard in perpetuity, and then because of the weirdness of the replacement, it just has an icky feeling. There's no, we're getting all the Spider-Mans back together. These are not too different. He's a replacement, and a replacement under not so great conditions. So no, like I'm not hanging out with Tom's ex-girlfriends.
But I mean, nobody felt this way when we discussed Ed Norton.
But Ed Norton carried a movie. He starred in a whole movie.
Wouldn't that make it even more awkward?
I don't think that would happen either.
I don't. That's why neither of them are going to.
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I don't think Edward Norton is going to happen
Yeah,
either.
neither do I. All right, let's get on to the next one here. The animated X-Men.
Ugh.
As ridiculous as that may sound on its surface, there is a moment in one of the trailers as they're breaking through realities that you can see that one of the realities that Doctor Strange and America Chavez go through is an animated world. And of course, they just relaunched the X-Men animated stuff, the classic ones up there with Jubilee. Woo! Like all that kind of stuff. Anne does a great Jubilee cosplay, by the way.
Oh, I bet she does.
What do you think? I'm going to say this. I am going to go I'm going to give it a solid 50%, a solid 50%. Because what other better way too would there be with, in this movie, Patrick Stewart appearing and also using it as another platform just really to announce to the world, the X-Men are coming. Like the real live action X-Men are coming. I'm going to go 50%. Chris, what about you?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Oh, you're going to give it a full A.
Yeah, we're getting X-Men 97. So like, why would you not include them in this? It makes all the sense.
All right, we're going to go with it. Absolutely. Rob, what about you?
That's where Wanda put them.
No. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's where Wanda
Shut
put
up,
them.
say more.
That's where the X-Men have been
They've
this whole
been
time.
in an animated world.
He sent them. She changed reality.
She said no more mutants, and they all disappeared.
She disappeared. Where would they go? They
My
went
brain
into
just broke.
they went
That's
into
amazing.
unreality.
Dropping some bombs here. Dropping some bombs. All right.
You want madness? That's madness.
We got a 50%, an absolute, and an absolute. All right. We still got a few left here.
That's so good.
Hey, listen, if Patrick Stewart's going to be there.
I mean, if you're going to do this, and Sam Raimi's the kind of guy that would come up with an idea like that. Wanda Maximoff, when she sent the mutants away, the mutants went into unreality, and they're represented through animation.
And especially after WandaVision, with everything being so television-based.
Yep.
Yes. It's possible. All right.
Bobbert, you mad genius.
Let's go and
I mean, it's pretty
Patrick
bonkers.
Stewart's
I don't know.
Professor X is here.
The guy who's talking about
What
how
about Magneto? What about Magneto? Now, of course, if you know the original comic book story, Magneto, of course, we know about the ending of it and the role that he plays and all that kind of stuff. Of course, in a different reality, he's Wanda's father. Hasn't been in this one. WandaVision kind of affirmed that Magneto is not her father, but we are talking about a multiverse here where she could have had different versions of a father. I actually thought there was a possibility that Magneto could have showed up in WandaVision. Obviously did not. But with Patrick Stewart here, I'm not going to go absolutely, but I will go likely. I believe it is likely that we are going to get one form, whether it's Ian McKellen, whether it's Michael Fassbender, whether it's another actor entirely. I think it is likely we get a Magneto here. Chris?
I absolutely think he's going to be in there.
Absolutely. Why is that?
Absolutely do. Because this is so much of Wanda's story. And I love the idea of Magneto coming in and carrying her off.
just like at the end of Disassembled.
Yes.
That's what this is. It's Avengers Disassembled, but it's not the Avengers that were disassembled. Well, I guess it kind of was. They were disassembled at the end of Endgame. And what's going to happen is after this battle and Wanda is broken, Magneto is going to come down and take his daughter.
What if it's, let me paint a picture for you. It's a mirror-like Phantom Zone portal appears in the sky. And on the other side of the portal, you see the animated X-Men world. And you see that animated Magneto floating towards the portal. And as he comes through that portal, he turns into live action. And it's our live action
We
Magneto
enchant
descending
it.
back down.
We take an enchanted approach.
Is that, yeah, that would kind of be an enchanted approach. Yeah.
I have to tell you,
She's like,
depending
you're
on-
stealing from the cartoon.
that could be dope if done correctly. Because that's where Wanda stuck everybody, including her dad. She changed her whole, because her family, the family. I would even go so far as to say that there was no Sokovia. She created Sokovia. And all of that was out of her mind. And when the changes, there's no Sokovia.
See, that's just, I think that would just piss off a lot of MCU fans about.
Look, if they're going to go big and hard, if this is truly the multiverse of madness, why not change and alter fundamentally?
It could also be, remember, we could be talking about 1,000 different other Wandas out there in their own universes doing things as opposed to just the one that we have in ours.
I mean, it's too much. Look, I don't think that they're going to expect the audience to understand.
But you are going with an A for Magneto.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to go absolute.
Yeah.
You're going to go absolute. I'm going to go
Yeah.
likely. Okay, got a couple left here. Any Inhuman, whether it's Black Bolt, the stupid dog, Medusa. I mean, any of the Inhumans from the Inhumans television series that Kevin Feige seemed to roundly reject and wanted nothing to do with. Because of that, I'm going to give the idea of the Inhumans being in there an absolute no. Kevin Feige has constantly separated himself from that show, wanted nothing to do with it. They were going to do an Inhumans movie, and as soon as Perlmutter said they were doing it, he was like, F that, I'm out, canceled the Inhumans movie, blah. So while I get it, they were there, I'm going to say that's a hard no, because Kevin Feige doesn't acknowledge the existence of those whatsoever. So I'm going to say a hard no. Rob, what about you?
No.
You are also going to go no. Chris, is there at least one possibly in here?
Okay, first of all, his name is Lockjaw, and you respect that,
I
Don
do
John.
like Lockjaw.
You respect Lockjaw.
I like Lockjaw.
And all that said, absolutely no. God, that show was so bad.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
I remember they debuted the first 2 episodes in theaters, like a few days before it aired. And I remember being all excited. I got up and I walked down to the AMC Burbank 16, got some popcorn, and watch this new Marvel show. And I walked out like, what the F did I just watch?
So
It was
horrible.
so bad. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the next one here. Well, if we're going to talk about any Inhumans, what about any characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Again, this is the same thing. Kevin Feige has always resoundingly even denied the existence of that show. It was a show that it often referred to the MCU, but the MCU never referred to it. And he has said before, hey, as far as I'm concerned, Agent Coulson died in the Avengers. Done. So the fact that he's already changed the Darkhold, that remember the Darkhold was an agency, it was like, nah, that's not real. This is the Darkhold. So I'm going to say no characters from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., unless you want to count Samuel L. Jackson, since Samuel L. Jackson did appear over there. A couple MCU characters did appear there, but I'm going to say no. Chris, what do you think? Any chance any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. regulars could show up in Doctor Strange?
It'd be cool to have Quake, but no.
No, she's too busy
Not making Powerpuff Girls?
not making Powerpuff Girls and going to dinner with whichever Paul brother she's dating at the moment.
Oh,
At least
that's
I think
a
there's.
bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer. Rob, what about you? Any chance to see an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character?
I'm going to say Coulson likely.
You say likely.
Yeah, because Coulson started out in the MCU and everyone likes him, and
And
they
this
kind
would
of
be a different
and they
universe,
kind of
different
ruined him.
dimension, yeah.
Different, I think Coulson could come back. Why
All
not?
right, see that they could just pretend like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff didn't exist and say this is a Coulson from another universe.
Yeah.
All right, you know what?
I think he, he's a cornerstone character. He was in Captain Marvel.
All right.
Why not?
I like that. Okay. How about this? Quicksilver. And I'll give you a twofer on this. Either version. Either the X-Men version or Wanda's brother, which we already got in WandaVision, that there's still a strong emotional hook she has about her brother and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say likely. And it would be the Aaron Taylor Johnson version. I think it would be the one we've had in the MCU. I will give that one a likely. Again, there's just too much of an emotional connection to that character. So, and the fact that she wanted that character to exist in WandaVision 2, I'm going to go likely. Chris, what about you?
Possibly. I'm only giving it a possibly instead of a likely just because of Craven confusion. Because he's Aaron Taylor Johnson's cast as Craven. And then, oh gosh, what's that other actor's name who's just wonderful as Quicksilver?
Who's also in
X-Men?
Kick-Ass.
Frank
Boner.
He did a great job in the X-Men movies, and I think he's a more beloved version of Quicksilver. So I'd lean more towards him being in it if it is one of her brothers.
All right, Rob, what do you think?
Both are going to be in it.
Absolutely?
Yeah.
You're going to go absolutely. Quicksilver's
Yes.
going to be it.
Because you know why?
Why?
Because there's going to be some kind of a reconciliation there. It's all Wanda's story.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going to happen. And look, that Quicksilver came from, if Xavier's in the movie, and I'll tell you something else, I'm willing to bet you that there's going to be a Quicksilver scene like from the X-Men movies where they do something together in tandem. There's going to be a tandem when they rescue, do one of those things, and one of them is going to get replaced out of existence somehow.
All right. Next one up. This is the one that's probably gotten the most talk and the most chatter. Mr. Fantastic. Now, I will leave this open. I was thinking about making it specific to the John Krasinski Mr. Fantastic, but let's just leave it at Mr. Fantastic in general. There is the Illuminati. We've heard so many rumors. There is talk about John Krasinski. I I think this is only the second A I've given on this thing. I will give this one an absolutely. I think when we get into that Illuminati scene, I think we are definitely going to see a version of Mr. Fantastic, whether it's John Krasinski or somebody else. I'm going to go, I feel as sure about that. Actually, that's the one I feel most sure about out of any of them. So I'm going to go with the A on that one. Chris, what about you?
Absolutely. You can't have the Illuminati without Reed Richards. And I'm assured that this character is going to be in there as Doctor Strange is going to be in this film.
Ooh, I mean, that's 100%. 100%. Rob, what about you, Mr. Fantastic?
I second my esteemed colleague sitting over here.
Thank you. I'm glad you concur.
And I would go even further. I don't know if is that done? Is that the end of your list?
No, there's still a couple more.
Oh, okay, then I don't want because I will give that an a, yes, 100%. And I think there's one other character that goes along with the Illuminati and goes along with Reed Richards.
All right.
That is going to be there.
Next up, Galactus. Now, we have seen Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange 1 deal with galactic level threats with Dormammu, right? So we had that. The possibility has been floated that Galactus may actually be introduced, that, or even somebody mentions that, well, my universe 372D-B1 explanation point was devoured by the World Eater. It was Galactus. Galactus, you know what? Because of the presence of Dormammu, I'm going to go possible. Like, I actually don't really feel like they're going to be introducing a character like that quite yet, but I'm going to at least go possible on this. Rob, what about you? Galactus.
I'm going to go absolutely, and it's going to be in the post-credit scene. Because once you've brought Reed Richards in, you set up that thing. Galactus is going to be in the post-credit scene, one of the post-credit scenes, somehow.
All right. Chris, what about you?
Are we talking about appearance or simply named?
I'll say appearance, which could be if, one Earth is, one character is revealing about their Earth got destroyed by Galactus in a quick flashback. I'm going to say appearance. Actually see it, even if it's just for a few seconds.
Then I'm going to say no, because I think it is going to be something in passing that's going to be set up later.
Okay. So we got a possibly, a no, and an absolutely. There we go. All right. I think this is our final one. Yes. Namor. The Submariner, I'm pretty sure this is what Rob was referring to earlier.
Indeed it was, John.
I'm just assuming you're going to go absolutely.
Absolutely.
See, I'm going to go 50%. And the reason I'm going to go 50% is like, John, have you heard all the reports? Reports are worth about as much as the toilet paper on my sidewalk out front. Nothing.
Why is there toilet paper on the sidewalk?
I mean,
someone's pooping wrong.
Yeah, definitely. But I would say this. There's still some confusion about what the right situation is with Namor, right? And there's been a lot of false reporting about it, but listen, there are several chairs on that Illuminati that are blocked out of view. Namor is a member in the comics of the Illuminati. He could very well be. So while I don't feel as assured as you, because I'm still a little iffy on the right situation, I've heard no official word on anything. I don't give a shit what other people hear. I haven't heard any official word on it. So, but I will go as high as 50%. I got to acknowledge that there's definitely a possibility there. Chris, what about you? Namor.
One, my variant apparently is answering this one. Chris with a C? Who's she? All right. I think this is an absolute.
You're going to go A on this one.
I think so. Again, Illuminati.
Yeah.
Got to be there.
And it's going to tease his appearance in Wakanda forever.
All right. Some people are also asking, hey, John, what about Venom? I don't really think that's a...
We already got that cameo.
Yeah, so I don't think that's happening. Some people are saying, what was it? Wolverine. We already covered the Wolverine thing. Some others. So, yeah. So, anyway, there we go, guys. Just a quick rundown for the 21 that we did. For Ben Affleck, I'm possibly, Chris is no, Rob is probable. Captain Carter, I'm absolutely, Chris is absolutely, Rob is absolutely. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, I'm possible, Chris is possible, Rob is likely. Chris Evans is Torch, no. Chris Evans is Captain America, 50% likely and absolutely. Deadpool, no, 50% and 50%. Loki, possible, no and no. Garfield or Maguire is Spider-Man, no, 50%, 50%. Either of the old Punishers, no, and no. Edward Norton Hulk, no, and possibly. Kang, possibly no. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, likely, possible, and no. Tom Cruise's Iron Man, possibly, likely, and absolutely. Animated X-Men, 50%, absolutely and absolutely. Magneto, likely, absolutely, and absolutely. Any Inhuman, no, no, and no. Any characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., no, no, and likely. Quicksilver, likely, possibly, and absolutely. Mr. Fantastic, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I think there were only 2 characters that got straight absolutes, and Mr. Fantastic was one of them. I think it was Magneto and Mr. Fantastic are the 2 that got absolutelys across the board. And then Namor, 50%, absolutely, and absolutely. So, whoo! There you go, guys. That's our little chart there of the possible cameos. What do you think about them? Are there some that you think could be likely that we don't like? Don't just throw some random obscure little one that you don't even think has a chance. But are there any that you think we actually missed out on here that really do have a likely chance of being in it? If you do, jump on down to the comment section below, guys, and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 5 here, shall we? Chris, what is our 5th main topic today?
This comes from Hayden. Hey, John and crew. A new Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness TV spot just dropped and gave us some cool new shots, including a menacing-looking Wanda, barefoot, dripping with blood as she crushes the head of an Ultron bot. This just raised my excitement level yet again. What do you guys think? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. Now, look, I have been skipping, quite frankly, most of these new little 30-second spots for Doctor Strange that I've been putting out. But I do that for most movies. Like, I eat up every single trailer and every single featurette. But I generally skip the little 30-second things because they're just minor variations of things we've already seen, normally. But I got this message from our viewer. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I went over and I took a look. And sure enough, there are several very, very fascinating things about this image to me. So first of all, you do have a Wanda walking very menacingly, covered in blood, all while crushing the head of an Ultron bot. Like, not even paying it attention, just like a snap of her fingers, and the Ultron bot just destroyed and all that kind of stuff. The bigger thing that stands out to me, though, is this. It's where this picture is from. That's the Illuminati chambers. That's the Illuminati chambers. She is walking in to wipe out the Illuminati. I mean, it's...
And she's going to.
And she's going to. Look at it right there. She's already killed somebody. In this. Like, she's already killed somebody. And she's wiping out the guards. She's covered in blood. She doesn't look like she's there to welcome the new neighbors next door. She is walking over to murder people and to lay waste and decimation and death and destruction. And I looked at this and I went, oh my God. As a quick little, literally 0.8 of a second shot that's in this new 30-second spot. I went, oh my God. And it brought back to my mind all the theories I've had over the years that Wanda's going to be the villain of Doctor Strange 2. What you watch, Wanda's going bad. She's breaking bad. Now, I mean, there could be a lot of explanations here, right? This very, very well could be our Wanda. It could be this is the multiverse. It could be a different version of Wanda. Whatever it is, a Wanda, whether it's ours or somebody else's, is going to be the villain of this film, ultimately. And I think this one shot in this new spot absolutely confirms that. Because it ain't the hero of a story who's walking into the Illuminati chambers to kill the Illuminati. So I love this 0.8 of a second shot in this new little spot. I think it looks brilliant. And you know what? Guys, out of all the stuff we've seen, the giant tentacled monsters and the zombie Doctor Strange and the third eye popping up, this is the most horrifying image I've seen. This is the scariest, most terrifying, Carrie-inspired version of this thing I've seen so far coming out of this movie. And I love it. I didn't think it was possible for me to get more excited about this movie than I already am. This image did it. I'm stoked. I can't wait. I'm gleeful right now completely. Rob, you had a chance to take a look at this image. First of all, what do you think about the image in general? But then what do you glean from this? Looking at the environment, her, whatever, what do you take away from this image that you're looking
I
at
think
here?
just what you said. I mean, here's the thing. Wanda, to me, in this movie, it's all about grief. She's looking for her kids, just like in the Avengers Disassembled comic. She's lost her brother. She's lost the Vision. She's lost her children. She's lost her quote-unquote parents, if you believe certain theories. She's a woman that's been broken. I mean, broken 4 ways till Sunday. And she's confronting people that could have prevented some of these deaths. They're the Illuminati, they're outside of time and space or whatever. And she's like, you allowed this to happen to me? You could have prevented this at any one time. Who the hell are you to do this? I mean, I'm sure when she finds out, I mean, she's using the Darkhold to try and find her kids, whatever the hell she's doing, just like she was in Avengers Disassembled. I'm sure she goes full on, I mean, around the bend, broken, and I'm just going to kill everyone. And I'm there for that. I can't wait. And that's kind of what, in Avengers Disassembled, and I only keep bringing that up because that's kind of what happened in the comics, but they've adapted that. I mean, she's not in a good place. And she's going to kill all these MFers. That's what she's, I mean, that's what, you all need to die. I blame all of you for my pain. You could have stepped in any one moment. You knew this was coming, and you did nothing to stop it. And you abused me. And you know what? I think it'd be cool. Kill them all.
By the
Wanda.
way, this I don't know where in the film this may happen, this picture here, but it's a very, very, very similar, very nightmarish, but it looks to me, and I have no idea, but obviously because it's the same blood spatter pattern on her shirt right now, so it could happen very, very close in time to the Illuminati scene. But to me, that looks like a hospital room.
This also looks very zombie Wanda.
I think Rachel McAdams is about to die in this scene. Like I'm just saying, you want to go real dark, real fast. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance. You saw this spot, particularly this image in particular. What do you think about the image itself, and what do you glean from it? What do you like deduce from the image that we've got here?
Well, one, we can't believe everything in the image, right?
That's
because
true.
we've seen this before in trailers where certain things get swapped out. That might not be an Ultron head.
True.
I think it's likely it is because of that PG-13 rating. It's going to be some kind of creature or robot or something
But
like
you know
that.
what? To your point, look at the head. That looks like blood coming out of it. Does a robot have
And
blood?
I'm no scientist, John, but robots usually aren't filled with blood. They don't bleed blood. So I think that could be anything else. I could think that could be someone else. I totally agree with Rob that this is her interview with a vampire moment. You did this to me. Charles Xavier, we can totally steal from their favorite trope in the comics, right? Put up psychic barriers, has her create her own reality or augments her memories, or at least blacks out some of the parts of her true childhood before Sokovia or before she created all of this, however you want to go about it. But I think she is going to hold these people accountable for what's happened to her brothers, her children, her partner, all of it. And I think it's going to be a big old come to Jesus moment of her just cooking fools.
And remember, we've already stated that we believe that Magneto exists. They're finally going to come out and say, yeah, she's a mutant. Of course she is. And she knows that Charles Xavier is king of the mutants, basically. And I'm like, enough of this pretense. I'm coming for you, dude.
By the way, one of our viewers in the live chat, Sebastian Lerda, goes real dark with this image. Says, okay, I get it. It looks like an Ultron bot. That's Vision's head. It's like, is there a more like, wow, she has broken bad. I mean, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that's a really cool theory that they put in there. That what if possibly maybe that could be Vision's head. Rob, I mean, I think we all like this image. It's profound. Man, where are you at right now with Doctor Strange with what we could get in here? Because also remember, this is 2 hours. So we can't get all 20 of the cameos that we think we're going to get and the 55 different storylines that we think we're going to get. Clearly, Wanda is a key part of this story. Where are you now on the whole idea that Wanda is the villain? At the end of the day, she's the villain. Whether it's this version of Wanda, that version of Wanda, but that at the end of the day, Wanda is the villain of the film.
Well, remember, I mean, Stephen Strange started out as a doctor. You know, he is a healer. And I think that again, I keep going back. I don't know why I keep going back to Avengers Disassembled, but so much of what's in there, especially regarding Doctor Strange and Chaos Magic and Wanda, I think it's really going to come down to Doctor Strange had no idea how damaged Wanda really was. Goes there, probably steps in it, and kicks off something that is his fault. Maybe that's the spell. He was trying to contain Wanda at some point and did something that kicked this whole thing off. But ultimately, Doctor Strange wants to help her. Literally, as a doctor, I want to help you. And that's where things go horribly awry.
I want to ask Aaron, like, you had a chance to see this spot. You see this image. What's your reaction to it? What are your thoughts of it?
I love that she's a very scary Carrie. I love, I mean, there's just something really beautiful about an angry woman just covered in blood, ready to just kick some ass. And I also love the fact that she's barefoot. I don't know why she's barefoot. I want to know why she's barefoot. The barefoot is really drawing me in, as there's something else going on here. And, in listening to all of this, hell hath no fury like a woman scorn. The character actually reminds me of the character of Medea. And no, I don't mean Tyler Perry's Medea. Great. I mean the Euripides character of Medea, who everything is ripped from her. She loses her kingdom. She loses her power. She loses her family, and she loses everything to be with Jason. And then Jason is like, oh, never mind. Just kidding. I'm banishing you, and I'm going to go and marry this other woman. And she's like, I will kill your new wife. I will murder her father so that he is no longer the king. And guess what? I'm going to murder your children. She murders her own children to get back so that her ex-husband has nothing. And I love that story. I just feel like it's been so, and there is
very apt.
It is so apropos. I really feel like there is some sort of connection between the character of Euripides Medea and Wanda in this, of a woman who is just like, you have left me with nothing, so I will destroy everything. And unlike so many of the other films that we've seen in the MCU, where the driving force is power, or the driving force is to save the world, like at a certain point, like, save the world. At a certain point, what else is driving it? And for her to have this deep, immense grief over the loss of everything she loves to be the driving factor of her fury, I feel like that's just a new story that we haven't seen in the MCU so much, that I'm here for it. I love it. I'm all for it.
Real quick, Tom, if you could meet me at camera 2. Tread lightly, my friend.
Oh, Tom knows that I am.
Wow.
He is terrified of me. He is terrified.
Wow.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this image of Wanda? I mean, it could be one version of a Wanda, different version of Wanda. It looks like she's walking in to take out the Illuminati, depending, looking at the pillars and stuff like that with the Ultron bot. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. We're now going to go over and start taking your live questions. But before we do, let's hear from one of our sponsors today, the good folks at ExpressVPN. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, guys, does it make sense that the same company who controls half the online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? Or what about the idea that a single company controls 90% of the internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? You guys know that big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and these tech juggernauts, and that's why I use ExpressVPN. You see, when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something that big tech companies can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers on your network. So stop handing over your personal data to the big tech monopoly that mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with a VPN that I trust to keep me safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/Campea. That's expressvpn.com/Campea to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea right now to learn more. And a big thank you to our friends at ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys. Now, with all that down, let's move over and start taking your questions, shall we? Chris, what do we got up here in the questions today?
Okay, we are starting things off with Gary Phillips. Thank you for that donation, Gary. We appreciate you.
So did Tyler James.
Oh, okay. That was 2 hours ago. How'd you get in there, Tyler? Well done. Anya Taylor-Joy's New Mutants character, Magic.
Nah, they're going to pretend that movie doesn't exist.
Did anyone see that movie?
I did. It was the
historically?
first movie I saw in theaters in like 6 months when the pandemic started. There were no movie theaters open in California. I drove to Las Vegas. Me and Soul.
Remember that?
Me and Soul got in a car, drove 3.5 hours to Las Vegas, watched New Mutants, drove 3.5 hours back because I hadn't been in a movie theater in 6 months. Yeah, not great. But no, you're right. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared about
We
it.
went to the pop-up drive-in at the Rose Bowl.
To go see New Mutants?
Wow.
Yeah, they set
remember
up
you
a big
did that.
pop.
That's
Yeah, they
right.
set it. That was the first movie I'd seen in 6 months
Man,
too.
drive-ins make even the worst movie so fun.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
It
going
doesn't
to the
matter.
Love a
Yeah.
drive-in.
So good. All right, what's next?
All right, from MP. Hello, John and his amazing friends. My question: what kind of food does Rob eat? Does he intermittently fast, then have a smoothie?
Yes, Rob. Are you intermittently
smoothie
fasting?
guy?
Well,
I'm curious, so, like,
he's a gluten-free
I
vegan.
am curious, like, what generally kind of stuff do you like to eat? Like, I am curious.
My favorite foods, I like, obviously, I like red meat. I like a lot of fish. You know, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I'm not a very good Jew because I love shellfish. I love lobster. I love crab. I love sole. I love halibut and salmon are probably my favorite fishes. I like, Italian food, pastas. I love Japanese food. I love sushi because it's fish. I love Korean barbecue.
All right. I good to know.
Fish
A wide
tacos.
palette.
Love
All
fish tacos, anything.
Yes, he
What's
loves
next?
fish tacos.
Aaron.
Sorry.
Andy, Moon Knight made me want to rewatch The Mummy.
Oh, what?
Oh, am I different on my
Anish?
screen? Okay. Anish, I'm now worried you guys just made better theories about Doctor Strange 2 than will actually be in the movie.
Oh, that actually happens 80% of the time, for sure. I mean, there are certain things we know. There's a bunch of stuff we don't know, but
Our
yeah.
Rise of Skywalker theories were so much better than that stupid movie.
so much
I was so
better.
mad the
So
whole time
much
I
better.
watched it. Oh.
So much better. You're probably right about that, Anish. You're probably right. All right, what's next?
From James Argenta. Mount as Black Bolt will be in Illuminati, and Illuminati will be killed by Wanda along with Captain Carter, Professor X, Maria as Captain Marvel, and Mr. Fantastic.
I don't. Okay, so look, in the comics, Black Bolt is in the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I just don't see them doing that in the movies.
The
I
show was
just
so
don't.
bad.
It was just so bad, and it's a bad reminder of it. But hey, listen, I love Anson Mount,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be. I'm not against it. I just don't see. I can't see Kevin Feige doing it.
I don't like revisiting my mistakes, so why
Yeah.
would Marvel?
Well, it's not his mistake. It wasn't Kevin Feige's
No,
mistake.
but eh.
All right, what's next?
From Andy, Moon Knight made me want to rewatch The Mummy.
I guess it kind of does in a way. I mean, I'll take any excuse to go back and revisit a Brendan Fraser project. All right, what's next?
Hey, Marcellus, I'm really surprised you guys didn't put Vision or Mephisto on your list. Can I say a really cool fan theory that I saw in the chat here?
Sure.
A whole bunch of people were like, Bruce Campbell as Mephisto. And I was like, that would be killer.
I just don't see Mephisto being in this.
No.
Look, Mephisto will be in the MCU at some point. I just don't think this is it. Yeah.
I'd love it.
All right, what's next?
From Andy, why does Erin look like she gives therapy to the devil in Los Angeles? Ooh.
Oh, you know what? You're exactly right. You look like, in a great way, the therapist that,
Rachel Harris.
is that her name?
I know I met Rachel through my very dear friend Leslie Ann Brandt on Lucifer.
That's right. And I keep forgetting you were in Lucifer.
And I didn't work with Rachel on Lucifer,
Right.
but what's crazy is that whenever I wear my glasses, Nathan Fillion, who's good friends with Rachel, he was like, when I did The Rookie, he goes, you look just like this actress. I go, Rachel Harris. I know. Yeah. Every time I change my hair or I change my accessories, I get, oh my God, you look just like, and I'm like, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Yes. There was a time back in high school where it was Liv Tyler. Yeah.
Ooh.
Really?
'Cause I had long,
You know
dark,
what? Yeah,
like
'cause I-
straight hair.
I've seen you in your cheerleading days.
I
The
swear to God, I'm gonna
Rockettes are not
fucking-
cheerleaders.
I will Will Smith you right
It is
now.
not Rockettes. Sorry, what? Rangerettes.
Rangerettes.
The Kilgore College Rangerettes.
Rangerettes.
Who are dancers, not cheerleaders.
Dancers, not
Please don't make
cheerleaders.
me strangle
I've
you
seen
again.
pictures of you in your dance brigade.
John, just shut up and take the next question.
All right, what's next?
Brigade.
All right, from Spencer Smothers. That liquid Wanda is covered in is too dark for blood. I think Wanda is covered in oil from ripping apart the Ultron bots in the Illuminati base. Blood gets pretty dark when it dries, folks.
Yeah, I think it's blood.
Well, you know, in Avengers Disassembled, which I keep going back to, She-Hulk rips Vision, just tears him
remember
Just in
asunder.
Dwayne.
Yeah, so maybe she does something similar for whatever reason. Maybe a Vision tries, or a variant Vision tries to calm her down, and she takes him out.
Well, remember, Viz is mentioned in the trailers. I mean, we don't see him in the trailers, but he is mentioned in the trailers. If White Vision had a better time to
was
show
gonna
up
say.
now, this is the time to do
Well,
it.
and again, that image could change. And if it is White Vision and she's like, you're not my real husband. Ugh. Yeah.
Crunch. All right, what's next?
From Amin, one of two. Unlike other actors, apparently Oscar Isaac only signed a one-season contract with Marvel. What do you think this means for the future? Oh, right there. Future appearances of the character. You think we'll see him in upcoming films, or do you think Moon Knight is strictly going to be a TV character?
We've crossed this bridge before with this topic. I really don't think it means anything. I remember we talked about a year ago that they announced that Marvel was going to start implementing shorter contracts. And so the fact that they signed a one-season deal for this, look, it's a no-brainer for them. If Moon Knight works, they have the flexibility to go back and do another one. And if Oscar Isaac wants too much money to do another one, then they don't have to do it because they have 80,000 characters now. So yeah, they're like, you can sign one contract. That's great. And then if we don't want to do it, no fuss, no muss. And if we do want to do it, who's going to say no to coming back to playing in Marvel again? Probably get a little bit of a pay bump. But because they have so many other options, if the actor doesn't want to come back for the right amount of money, just go, okay, no problem.
It's also
And
the
they
bigger
will do
star
it.
you are. So it's actually, there are a lot of actors who only sign a one-year contract because they have that, they negotiate that. Like, I want to have an out clause, whereas if you are not someone of Oscar Isaac's stature or Nicole Kidman's stature, like, I mean, the majority of the cast of Big Little Lies, they all had one-season contracts. They loved doing the show loved working with them. They said, let's do it all again. And they said, great. And I think also, there are a lot of companies, production companies that just say, hey, you know what? We don't want to hold you to something that you don't want to be a part of. We only want you to do this if you really want to do it too, because otherwise it's not any fun for anybody. So I think that for someone like Oscar Isaac, they're willing to work on a one-season contract and just hope that everybody has such a good time they want to do it again.
But see, it didn't always used to be like that with Marvel. Because remember, it was a you sign minimum 4 or 5 picture deal, even Joaquin Phoenix. That's why, because Joaquin Phoenix was going to be Doctor Strange.
Oh, right. In the MCU, it's, yeah.
Like, you got to sign a 5-film deal, and Joaquin Phoenix was like, well, I'd like to play this role, but I'm not going to sign a 5-film deal.
I'm
And they're
so
like,
glad it's
okay, we'll find
Benny.
somebody else.
Aw.
And I mean, there used to be like that, but this does kind of signal a little bit of a change in that philosophy these days. Also, and I know no one's going to want to hear this, I think it's also a sign of a change in philosophy at Marvel about, we'll cast somebody else. Like, if Oscar Isaac doesn't want to come back for Moon Knight again, I think today Kevin Feige is more like, okay, let's get somebody else to play Moon Knight.
Yeah, Khonshu will take a new avatar.
Exactly.
Well, either,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just talking
Easy.
about a straight up actor swap. I don't even mean changing Mark.
Right, but I mean, you could if you need.
Yeah,
But
they could just find. But I think, hey, guess what? Somebody else plays Mark and Steven now.
I was interviewing for the Designing Hollywood podcast, Donald Moat, who was Oscar Isaac's makeup artist while they were working in Budapest on the show. And he said that he and Oscar Isaac wondered, does anyone know Moon Knight? And Oscar Isaac collects Hot Toys. And
Yes,
even
he does.
he,
He's
even,
an avid Hot Toy
yeah,
collector.
and even he was like, I don't know if people know Moon Knight. Are you excited? And I told Mr. Mott, I'm like, are you kidding me? it's going to be awesome. So I bet when he signed on, he's like, well, this could be fun. But if it goes south or people don't like it, I don't want to be locked into playing somebody I don't. So his people, his management, his agents, whatever, I think they made the smart move, because if it went well, they'll bring him back.
Well, and also it's just one season of TV. That doesn't exclude him from signing up for movies and things like that.
Right.
And he is a movie star traditionally.
Yeah.
So.
Right, exactly. And he's a great movie star.
They all just want to be more flexible. I think Marvel just wants to be more flexible and give everybody else more flexibility. And they just realize, hey, if somebody doesn't want to come back, we can just recast it.
And clearly, though, he had a great time. You can see it making this show, because he put his all into it.
He's an Academy level kind of actor.
Yeah.
And I think this might be his best performance so far. I mean,
pretty great.
Like, it's crazy. All right, what's next?
All right, from Jacob Hirsch. How likely is it that Spider-Man from Turn Off the Dark Broadway appears in either Strange Multiverse Madness or Spider-Verse 2?
The one you two? Is that the one that you two did the music for?
Yes.
The Julie Taymor
Where,
directed.
like, where Spider-Man
girlfriend
kept
of mine,
getting injured.
a girlfriend of mine was America from Bitch Slap. My co-star in Bitch Slap. She was the understudy to the Arachnid character, which I was like, love you. We'll never see this show. Because all I need is like to be sitting there and have literally spiders flying out of the
I love
stage.
Marika, by the way.
Oh, she's amazing. I love her. I talked to her last week. And she was an understudy. She was like the only person in the cast that did not fly into a wall and end up getting, and I don't say that in jest. Literally, people were horribly injured working on that production.
Totally unsafe show.
Oh, it was a terribly unsafe show. But literally, like every single character that played Arachnid as the main person ended up in the hospital, but her. And she was like, can you guys just make me the main character instead of having me as the understudy? And they were like, no, set up understudy. You're just going to go on when our main girl goes to the hospital. But that was a crazy show.
Good reference to that, Jacob. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave. My favorite moment of Gottried is when he roasted Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers' reaction to it is great, since her comedy is as filthy as Gottfried's.
I've never seen that.
No, but I'd love to see it.
I'm gonna have
one
to
of the
Google
first things
that.
I'm going to do when the show's done, look that up, because I'm going to want to see that. All right, what's next? Thanks for giving me pointing me in that direction, Stubble. What's
From
next?
MP. Bruh. Hey, bruh. How is everyone on Bring on the Filthy? Bruh. Star Trek, the motion picture and cinema. Can you think of a more cognate phrase?
I have no idea what MP's trying to say.
Is that just because you say bruh sometimes? Rob?
Yeah, I say, I mean, yes. When something is cool, I'll just say bruh.
Bruh.
But look, all of you, next month, if you've never seen Star Trek the Motion Picture before in a cinema, Fathom is having a 2-night event. You can go see the new Director's Edition, which is a fine edition of the film. Rediscover your love of Star Trek, even if you didn't know you had one, by seeing Star Trek the Motion Picture in the theater next month.
All right, what's next?
From Mikey. Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced a few days ago. Yeah. Oh, and it might possibly be teasing Marvel and Star Wars characters and universes.
So I've never played any Kingdom Hearts game. What's the basic genre? Like, what's the idea?
Okay, so it is Disney meets Final Fantasy, right?
Oh, okay.
And it is glorious.
Is it like a fantasy? Is it an RPG sort of thing? A first-person shooter?
Yeah. It's basically a JRPG, but with Disney.
Oh, okay.
And it is so fun. It is delightful. I think you would really, really enjoy it. You get to explore different worlds in Disney, plus this very, very epic, wonderful storyline a la Final Fantasy. It's beautiful. It's
All
so
right.
beautiful.
What's next?
From Andy, $7 Productions is named after The Rock's lowest point in life when he only had $7 to his name. Too bad there wasn't 69 in his pocket instead.
That is an interesting. So The Rock tells that story, is that he, like at one point, that's what he had to his name. He had $7 in his pocket.
They have that moment on Young Rock.
I've never watched The Young Rock, even though I'm a big Dwayne Johnson fan. I've never watched Young Rock.
Actually, pretty cute.
You know what? I've actually heard pretty good things about it. I should probably check it out. But yeah, that is a really cool story, though, about the name behind his production company. All right, what's next?
All right, from Jerome. In 2016, there was a backlash when The 100 and other shows killed off gay bi characters. It's a storytelling cliche called Bury Your Gays. Oh, yeah, so Jerome's written it about this before, about backlash of doing this with characters, which I think we've had a lot better representation and a lot less of this tragic LGBTQ storylining, which has been really, really nice. You've seen this one in a lot of like rom-coms too, where we don't have to have like a tragic ending to a relationship or a really convoluted coming out story. Now it's just human stories.
Right.
So I'm hoping we stop having that bury the gays trope, Jerome.
I watched the new Rebel Wilson movie where she goes into a coma and wakes up.
Yes.
Senior year.
She's
Your
a cheer-
definition of new needs a little bit of work.
well, she's a cheerleader that
Yeah.
goes into a coma and then wakes up out of the coma 20 years later.
I thought you were talking about the rom-com she did where she wakes up in a rom-com.
Oh, I love that.
That's what
one.
I thought- that's what I thought you were talking about. All right.
She goes. She wants to finish her senior year in high school, and there is an LGBTQ joke in the trailer. I'm like, we have come a long
It's
way.
so funny. That kid's face, too.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? Representation. Everyone, we're just gonna be fine. You know, it was.
You'll love that joke.
I
Okay, I'm looking
loved
forward
that
to-
joke.
What is the
I
name of this
laughed out
movie?
loud.
Senior
It's
year.
Senior year.
Senior year. Oh, okay.
It looks pretty funny.
I like Rebel Wilson. She's funny.
All right, what's next?
From Ryder, do you think Khonshu is destroyed or ended by the end of the series? And what will be the definitive personalities of Moon Knight by the end of the MCU?
No,
Oh.
because if I understand it right, and this has nothing to do with the previous episode we just saw. If I understand it, he gets his powers from Khonshu. So no, I don't think Khonshu's going anywhere. And as far as who's going to be the definitive personalities, we're only halfway through the season. We've got like more than half the story to still tell. When you count in post-credit scenes, which I've heard we are going to start getting post-credit scenes in the show now, so it's impossible to say that right now. But no, I don't think there's any chance that Khonshu's not around.
No,
Again,
just
it's
go read
possible.
go read the Wikipedia of just the history. It'll blow your mind. Just go read the history of Khonshu. Just Google Marvel Khonshu 616 and just read what comes up. And you'll be like, wait, what? It's crazy.
All right, what's next?
From Fifi, I hope in Moon Knight we get this conversation. Punisher, hey Mark, you still crazy? Moon Knight, little bit. You still killing people? Punisher, little bit. How's your imaginary god? Moon Knight, good. How's your family?
Ouch.
No. But the line in the comic is actually, how's your dead family?
Oh.
It is one of the greatest comic panels in the history of comics. It's just a stern-looking Punisher standing there. It's a side profile. Punisher sternly looking, kind of looking down, Moon Knight looking up at him. Punisher, hey Mark, you still crazy? A little bit. You still killing people? How's your imaginary god? Pretty good. How's your dead family? It's one of the greatest comic panels
great.
ever. I want to see that so bad. I want to see that play out so bad. All right, what's next?
All right, from Night Furious. Rumors abound that the Thor 4 trailer will release next Monday, the 18th. Do you think it's more likely to release that day or during CinemaCon? Thanks.
Either works. I mean, remember, there were absolute confirmations that the Thor 4 trailer was releasing on April 11th. Remember? Because the actors did the little signs and thing. Everything, that's confirms. Okay, so now we're hearing reports that it's going to be the 18th, and it very well could be. If it's not the 18th, it will be the following week at CinemaCon. So before April 29th, before the end of CinemaCon, I absolutely believe we're going to have our Thor trailer. Whether it happens before or at CinemaCon, we'll have to see.
When is the movie coming out?
July?
Yeah, it's July.
The first part of July.
So-
See,
yeah.
I feel like it would come out before CinemaCon because the whole purpose of CinemaCon is for the theater, the people who own theaters to look and see what's on their slate. And I feel like most theater owners would already have their slate for June or July ready to go.
Right, but at CinemaCon, they also do a lot of big trailer debuts. And there hasn't been a Thor trailer yet. So this
Yep.
could be, and they're not showing us Doctor Strange 2, which I found out the other day. So, I mean, a Thor trailer, but there is a big Disney Marvel presentation, so they got to show us something.
Hey, the trailer for David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future is going to be
Yeah.
debuted at CinemaCon.
But I think the 18th is absolutely a possibility. I mean, we are already in the shortest window between a first trailer and when a movie comes out ever in Marvel history, already, by days. And that record's just getting bigger and bigger now.
Let me ask you guys this. After all of the speculation with Doctor Strange, I mean, I would think that Thor Love and Thunder, how can it possibly compete? Like, are we going to be as excited for Thor Love and Thunder as we are with
I can
this?
tell you right now, it's going to be a better movie.
It's
Thor Love and
Taika.
Thunder will be better than Doctor Strange 2.
Why do you say
I'll call
that?
it right now. Couple reasons.
I love it. It's Taika. I agree.
But it's going to be extremely two different kinds of movies. Like, Doctor Strange 2 is not going to try to be what Thor is, and Thor's not going to try to be
Right.
what Doctor Strange is, right? Whereas Doctor Strange is going to be how bonkers can we make this? Thor is going to be how exciting, thrilling, and fun can we make this? It's going to be two totally different things. And while they both will kind of cross-pollinate a little bit for sure, the biggest reason comes down to it's Taika Waititi. And Taika Waititi, Academy Award winner Taika Waititi, has been absolutely slaying it. What he did with Thor Ragnarok on his first ever MCU project, then he goes out and does one of the best films I've seen in the last 5 years with Jojo Rabbit. And then what he did on
What
with,
We Do in the Shadows.
Mandalorian.
Oh.
And well, I mean, before that is What We Do in the Shadows for sure.
Love that movie.
Both the new series, the old series, the original movie. People are loving Our Flag Means Death.
I was going to say, you really need to go back and watch that. And Jerome and I believe it's Joseph in the chat here too, who were talking about wanting these really beautiful LGBTQ stories. Our Flag Means Death is so delightful and pure, and it is a lovely love story with so much heart and chosen family, which is always a theme of Taika's.
That's what I got
kills
from the
it.
title of his show, Our Flag Means Death.
Right?
It's good to hear you say that.
It really
I
just
like
pushes your expectations, though, right?
You
Where
know,
it's like,
and we all know how our expectations like to be subverted.
I like them subverted.
I do.
Let me be clear
I
here.
like subversion
Both
in
of these
general.
movies, I believe, are going to be great. They're
Yeah.
both going to be great. But I am expecting that Thor will be the better movie.
I understand what you're saying. I think you're probably not wrong because
We'll see.
it's going to have
We
to
win
tell a
either
story
way.
that it doesn't have the build up. It's going to be more of a new thing, even though it's the fourth Thor movie.
But either way, look, we win. Either way, whichever one ends up better, we win.
I can't believe we're getting a fourth Thor movie.
I'm so
I'm
excited.
just excited that we actually have childcare so that Tom and I can drive
To
out
actually
here
go and see.
And by the way, so Cheryl is coming back. Everybody, Cheryl's coming back. So be prepared. My mom is going to be here and wants to go to lunch with everybody. But what I love is I called her and I said, "Hey, great news! John got all of us tickets to see Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, and it's on Thursday when you get into town." And my mom goes, "Why don't I stay and babysit the baby?" And I go, "Really?" And she goes, and I said, "What?" She goes, "Yes, that will be my gift to you for not making me go watch that movie."
Well, then.
Girl was like not having it. She goes, "I don't know what
I love
that
your
is.
mom, by the way.
I don't know who that doctor is. I don't know what madness you're talking about, but I am babysitting my grandchild and I will not
Right.
watch that movie. Thank you and you're welcome."
I actually very much love this gift because, as John and Rob know, I'm spending my anniversary with y'all. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's your anniversary. She's
my
gonna
wedding
watch Doctor
anniversary is
Strange
May
for an
5th.
anniversary.
And Logan was like, as long as I get to come to the movie, it's fine. So we can
Were
go
you
out
able
for
to get
drinks and
him a
food.
ticket?
I got him a ticket right next to all of us.
Oh, perfect.
And I
Yeah.
got him a ticket like a few seats down, so we're just gonna
Tom?
scooch. Yeah, so maybe
Your mom's
Tom and
delightful,
Logan
by the
can-
way.
Huh?
Your mom is
Your mom
delightful.
is
My mom is the
Sweet.
best. She's
But
All right.
we can afford
we
it.
are
Keep it
we are
together.
like way far behind, so we got to start flying through these questions here. Okay, what's next?
All right, from Night Furious. Rumors abound.
Nope,
no,
next.
excuse me. From Andy. Over under 1,000%. One of the surprise cameos that Sam Raimi is going to put in Doctor Strange is Nickelback playing Hero as a nod to his Spider-Man 2002.
Or
Yes.
any Nickelback song that everybody, the world sings along to Nickelback. I mean, mock all you want.
Good
by
Canadian
the way.
kids.
Let's be clear. They are nowhere near one of my favorite bands, but good Canadian kids. There's a reason y'all know the name of Nickelback
That's right.
because they do nothing but make hits. That's all they do. They just make hits, and everybody knows their songs. Everybody knows them. You got to have a certain level of success to be able to say that.
It's true.
And
yeah. The first sign of success is attack.
yeah,
Everyone has to watch Shane Torres's comedy bit on Guy Fieri and Nickelback. It is a must-watch.
I like it already. All
Irene
right.
Jobson in the chat lost her V to Nickelback. Well done.
Well, see, there you go. How
Irene.
bad can they be? How
Was
bad?
Brad
That's
playing
not
that
really a
for
slow
you?
jam situation then.
All right, what's next?
John Redcorn, Moon Knight, Winning Time, Severance, Abbott Elementary, Atlanta. So much good TV, so little time.
And this is
True.
one of the reasons why going into this new era, by the way, just found out getting the keys to our new studio on Friday. We don't start broadcasting from there for a couple more weeks, but we get the keys this Friday. One of the reasons we're going into this new that we're going to do into this new era is we are going to start covering more television. We are going to start doing more post game open spoiler discussions, also known as after shows, because there is so much freaking good TV. We should have been doing post open spoiler discussions of Winning Time. We should have been
yeah.
doing open spoiler discussions for Severance.
Severance.
We should have been doing open spoiler discussions for Atlanta. We should have been doing this, but we will get ourselves positioned where we will
Should have
cover
been
more.
doing
I'm just
Robin
looking
Chris
forward to
Evans
doing
shoes.
an after show with Star Trek Strange New Worlds with you, John.
Well,
Where we can talk a brand new
817,000
Star Trek
shows.
show.
let's see episode 1 first. Let's get one episode under our
I
belt.
just want to sit in the same frame with you and talk about Star Trek.
All right, what's next?
Nathan Kruger, chances we get Jeffrey Wright's Uatu, the Watcher.
I'm going to say 0. Look, not never again in the future, but for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I don't think we're going to get that.
I think it's going to be limited to What If at this time.
Yeah, I agree. All right, what's next?
Casey Mack, out of everybody you mentioned in those possible cameos, surprised there was no mention of Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, even though I don't think that would happen.
I think it's a less than 0. I just, as hot as Nicolas Cage is right now, that becomes a distraction.
He's the Hansel of cinema.
Yeah, but I mean, no, it wouldn't be. It's Ghost Rider. It's Nicolas Cage.
Exactly.
Even if Tom Cruise appears as Iron Man, it's Iron Man, but Tom Cruise Iron Man. Like, so I just don't see them. Not to mention, nobody likes Ghost Rider, and not the character. I mean, the movie. Nobody likes Ghost Rider. So yeah, I see that as a less than 0 option, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
From Tom Fulton, what's up, all? I just wanted to report that due to all the Sonic hype on the show lately, I watched the first movie this weekend and loved it. Looking forward to watching that sequel now.
Such a surprisingly delightful little movie. It wasn't one of the top 10 movies of the year or anything to me, but it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And I legitimately smiled and was made happy by it. You all saw it, right? Did you see the original Sonic?
Yeah.
I think you would like
You'd
the
love
original
it.
Sonic.
Really?
I really do. There's such a charm to it.
I was dubious like you.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like something.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No, it
You'll
doesn't
give
seem
in
like
to
something
the
I would like
hype.
either. Yeah, you
Give in
think
to
you'd
the
like
little
it.
baby hedgehog.
All right, what's next?
Bama ham yum. I got promoted to general manager at my job.
Nice.
Celebrating today with Moon Knight, the John Campea Show, and then my third viewing of Batman.
Nice.
Wait a minute.
Nice.
You got promoted at your job, so you get to watch 2 TV shows and a movie? I want your job.
Right.
I want that job.
Literally your job.
That is
That is
literally your job.
That is literally
It
your
is
job.
literally your job to watch movies and TV shows and talk
Oh,
about them.
Bama
yeah,
ham yum
you
didn't
know.
get any bottles of gin.
I never thought about that.
All right, congratulations on the promo, Birmingham. All right, what's next?
MP. Hi, Zivia Fan Hour. I'm from East Massachusetts. Here we say have a good one, which means to enjoy something good, not necessarily has to have alcohol in it.
Yeah,
Well, that's
have a good
true.
one.
That's surprising.
That's
not
a good one.
That's a standard Canadian thing too. I thought it would be standard all over the
No,
place.
we say that in Texas too.
You know,
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
our friend Kevin Rubio just says, have a good.
Really?
Yeah, he
That's
says,
weird.
have a good, which I always kind of liked.
Yeah.
Because you could plug it into anything.
I would
Have a
probably
good.
just sit there staring at him quietly, waiting for him to finish the sentence. If he
No,
said
Yeah.
that
well,
to
once
me.
you get to know him and you've heard him say it, after years, of course, I kind of like it.
So
Hey,
you're
have a
saying
good.
that the step is meet your friend, get to know your friend, spend years with your friend, and then I'll get the joke.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
That's
He
just-
just-
Oh, then I'll get his salutation.
even when you talk to him on the phone, the last thing he always signs off, he goes, "Hey, have a good."
Oh, that's
Everybody's got
sweet.
their own thing. All right,
Yeah, I like it.
what's next?
Okay.
Sam Fisher, episode 3 is the best yet.
I mean, not universally agreed upon, Sam, but I think I might agree. I really loved it. All right, what's next?
From Jerome again, example of TV heroes becoming villains. Walter White on Breaking Bad, Daenerys on Game of Thrones, Angel on Buffy, Slade on Arrow, and Castiel on Supernatural. They
I
had
think-
written in before
I'm like,
about
Angel didn't become a villain. Like he had the Angel series. But I guess at one
the
point
soul
he was
issues.
Slade, sure. Slade was never really the hero. Castiel, he struggled for a bit, but he ultimately
Well, and it was a possession issue too
well,
of the Leviathan.
well, he became God,
Yeah, well, that too.
right? He became God. That's when he went a little
That
but he
show is
came
so
back
bizarre.
to his I don't know that Walter White was ever the hero. Daenerys, though, yes. Daenerys, that's a good example. Daenerys is totally one. That's a good one, Jerome. All right, what's next?
All right, from Alex Mata. Hey, John and crew, do you think we could see a possible Midnight Suns project or Marvel Knights down the line? Possibly a setup in the Moon Knight?
I mean, this has come up a lot. I don't think they're going to do a Midnight Suns, but do you
I
really
think they'll
believe
do it
they
as a
will?
series. I
Yeah?
absolutely do.
And
I mean,
what do you think the lineup of that would be?
Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I think,
but not Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider.
No.
Yeah, no. But I think something like Ghost Rider,
Werewolf by
Blade.
Night.
Blade, Blade, Moon Knight, the Black Knight. I mean, all the people that we've already seen. You know, I would have said maybe somebody like Morbius, the Living Vampire, if he was in
I
the
was gonna
MCU,
bring
but
that up,
that's
yeah.
probably not going to happen.
Probably unlikely now.
Womp womp.
All right, what's next?
From Stubble McShave, I think it's a missed opportunity by Disney Plus to not put the SP features from original or prequel Star Wars movies. The prequel features are better than the movies.
As Mr. Opportunity to do so, I was not putting it.
The special features?
Special
Well, yeah,
features.
there's an
You
incredible.
mean on digital?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Listen, the bonus features on the prequel, I hate the prequels, but the bonus features on the prequel discs are them and Lord of the Rings. Those are the best bonus feature stuffs on discs ever made. They're absolutely
The
fascinating.
documentary, The Beginning, about the making of Phantom Menace, has a lot of things that aren't stated in the documentary, but you can see them. Like when Rick McCallum and everybody sits down and watches the first cut of the Phantom Menace, and they're all kind of looking around, and George Lucas is like, well, maybe I went a bit too far. You gotta pull it back.
All right.
It's very telling.
What's next?
From Tyler Viper. Do you think Mordo will become an ally to Strange again or help send Wanda over the edge completely?
It depends. Like, I don't think the Mordo we see in the trailer is our universe's version of
No.
Mordo. And I think you brought up once before, Rob, and I agree with you. I think this Mordo is actually part of the Illuminati. And I don't know. I'll say yes. I could see him fighting, because we see him fighting Strange in it. I could see him and Strange fighting side by side at one point. Because remember, Mordo, talking about heroes become villains.
Yeah.
Mordo was a good guy and still considers himself a defender of the true good. So I could see it happening.
By the way, I don't know why this just struck me. What if Tony Stark, as Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, is a member of the Illuminati, and that's who Wanda killed?
With the crushed head?
Yeah.
Totally could happen. Totally could happen. All right, what's next?
From Hayden Wilson, who has my favorite name ever. We're Christine and Hayden, me and my brother, like from Coach. Walmart's website still advertises No Way Home with 90 minutes of extra content. They need to change it because I was finessed.
Finesse? Well, I mean, I would say this. I would completely say, if the only error is they say 90 minutes of content when it's actually 80 something minutes of content, got to get over that. That's not a big deal. Now, if Walmart's website still says extended scenes and deleted scenes, that is an issue. They need to address that. Then they absolutely. But if
I'm looking at it right now, and I don't see that.
okay, well, there you go. But I mean, if the one you're looking at, I would still say if the one problem is that says 90 and 80, whatever. That's an irrelevant little mistake. I wouldn't worry too much about that. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, episode 3 spoilers without context. Laser Light Show, Passport, Boromir, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.
Yes. I can't say anything to that, Sam, but yes, well said. All right, what's next?
Esteban, will we see Toby, Andrew, or Tom in Spider-Verse?
I mean, we can go back to what we talked about before. I mean, if I bring up the, I closed it, unfortunately. What did we say on it? Let me bring it up here again. What did we say was the likelihood? Now, I don't think Tom. I really don't think Tom's going to be in it. But if we go back to Garfield and McGuire, I said no. Rob said 50%. Chris said 50%. Are you
For
rethinking?
Toby.
Well, for either Garfield or McGuire.
Yeah, I think maybe. But again, I don't think we're going to see Tom Holland at
I don't
all.
think Tom Holland either.
At all.
But you guys are both 50% that it could be either Andrew
Yeah.
or Toby could show up. I'm going to go on
more
a no.
Toby, though, than Andrew.
All right. What's next?
From AKA Anomaly. While watching Everything Everywhere, the projector was broken and kept covering the screen in red shade.
Oh,
But since the movie was so good, we were convinced for the longest time it was a part of the movie.
I
Cool.
understand that feeling.
the reason Aaron's saying that is like Aaron and Tom were watching an episode of WandaVision thinking the episode was all in Spanish.
We
And it
thought
was
that
like
it
a
was a
telenovela.
telenovela themed episode. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Telenovela. First it was the 60s, then the 80s, now telenovela.
Was there at least subtitles?
And yeah, we just didn't realize that our television had, like, our Apple TV had put it on
Spanish language
with English subtitles. So,
But
yeah.
I could see that. Well, hopefully, AKA Anomaly. I mean, look, that happens. Accidents happen in theaters. Quite frankly, considering there are 30 to 40,000 screenings a day in America, I'm surprised there aren't more glitches and things. But hopefully, your theater took care of it and gave you a free pass for another movie or made good on it. But yeah, I'm glad you went to go see the movie anyway because it is that good. All right, what's next?
MP. John, I want a cinematic blonde-haired The Flash. Maybe they can put a wig on Tom Selleck or Brie Larson could play a man. Hashtag drop the taco.
I have no idea what that
What?
means. Why does it matter what color the Flash's hair is?
Because sometimes in the comic they have blonde hair.
I feel like there's a cinematic blonde, like maybe that's a thing. I don't know. Is that something?
Unless this is all an insane, like the hashtag, this might be tied into a joke with hashtag drop taco, so I have no idea what it's talking about. Sorry, MP, went right.
I think that was a Rob question because somebody said Rob dropped the taco in the chat. So.
Still don't know what that means. All right, what's next?
All right. Oh, can you bring up yours, John? Because mine's all goofy. Whitehawk. I think Doctor Strange doesn't need to be rated R. However, I feel like Wolverine, Blade, and Deadpool would benefit from an R rating. Just my opinion. Does that make me a moron or something?
Well, no, we've had this discussion before. We're not going to revisit the whole thing. But yeah, look, Deadpool easily could have been perfectly fine as PG-13. There's lots of ways to do it. But you can't now that you've already done it as rated R. There's no going. Like once you break the seal, there's no going back. So that's fine. Wolverine also could work perfectly fine. Wolverine was in X-Men Days of Future Past, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, not rated R. He was also in X-Men 2, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, not rated R. I mean, so you can do it and then lean into it and for a certain way to benefit. There's certain characters who benefit more from, but it doesn't, the rating doesn't by it in and of itself inherently make something better or worse though.
Ron W 357 is saying the drop the taco thing is from that car commercial that Brie Larson does, where she's like, drop the taco, get in.
I know the commercial. I don't remember the lines of the commercial. Okay. All right. What's next?
From Reese Peanut Butter Cup. If you see a robbery at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness?
Oh, God. That's not that bad.
By the way,
that's worth a chuckle.
I still haven't had my chance to touch or play with that new Mac Studio Ultra.
Why not?
Because fact checker Jonathan got it.
So go over to his house and play with it.
I could just tell him to bring it over here, but I'm just letting him because he's going to be the main one using it. Mm-hmm. That's the most expensive computer I've ever bought. $6,000 for that computer. But it's going to be the main brain.
Does it come with a screen or is it the screen extra?
No, it's just the box.
It's just,
Wow.
It's just the box, but it's like the most ridiculous box in history. But it's going to be the main brain.
Sorry. We're 5.
Wow. I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't say that.
You know? I don't know, 100%. Like every time somebody's mentioned tacos, I'm like, Aviation Gin, brought to you by Ryan Reynolds.
Wow.
I'm gonna need a minute to compose myself. Okay, sorry. Okay. That reminds me of. Would you remember Ashley Mova?
Of course, yeah.
She was great on the movie talk and stuff like that. I still remember this one time we were talking about Guy Ritchie's movie Snatch, and I was like, I mean, God, you have no idea how much I love Snatch. And Ashley Mova went, wow. Like, oh my God. Anyway, so anyway, the
what
Mac
were you saying, John?
Most incredible computer, whatever, and it'll be the main switcher, main everything. It'll be the brain hub of the brand new studio. So
it's the best box you've ever had.
that I've never touched. I haven't touched this one yet.
But you want to get your hands on it.
Next.
Penetrate.
Gary Madigan. Walmart website has No Way Home deleted scenes advertised.
Oh, they do.
Okay. I will say this. If you look at the 4K UHD Walmart exclusive artwork version, if you just look at the on the Walmart website, Spider-Man No Way Home, Blu-ray and DVD, it does not have it. But yes, the Walmart exclusive artwork, if you look at the images on the back of the case, it says over 90 minutes bonus content on Blu-ray, including deleted and extended scenes, bloopers, and gag reels.
Is it possible there are some versions of the disc that does that?
Yes, because they probably did artwork for specific, like this is the Walmart exclusive artwork. So if you are a collector of Walmart exclusive artwork, DVDs and Blu-rays, then yeah, you're going to have some artwork that was probably done by their in-house ad staff like many months ago that just went down the line. And then they have no idea what ultimately comes on the Blu-ray.
But retailers also were always given, not always, but given exclusive content. We even, for Star Trek, We actually had to make we made an exclusive documentary for Best Buy.
So it is possible that this Blu-ray in Walmart could have those scenes.
Yeah, I'd have to
and
do
the
further
others
research.
don't.
Could be.
Walmart, not a sponsor, could
Yes, not a
absolutely
sponsor
be
of
the
the
one.
show.
Walmart, not
And
yet a sponsor.
If there's a way to get me into a Walmart, I guess.
That would be it. All right, what's next?
Ouch.
It's not my place, Aaron. I'm not a fan.
For why?
I'm country. It's my place.
Check the mystery. Hey, John, rewatching Ghost and the Darkness last
Oh
night.
my God.
I
so
know.
good.
I know Chris is a big Val Kilmer fan. Question for everyone: favorite Kilmer film? Thanks.
It's I mean, I think I gotta say Ghost in the Darkness. I love that movie. Like, it is so character driven, so profound, so terrifying by what you don't see. Him, Michael Douglas, it's just so incredible in that movie. I think I'd have to say Ghost in the Darkness. What about you?
Okay, he's incredible in Tombstone.
Oh yeah, it's great.
He
Tombstone.
is wonderful
I'll be
in the
Huckleberry.
Doors film. I really love him in The Saint. I love him in that
He's
movie
really good
so
in The Saint.
much. He's just like so dreamy and taking advantage of people. I like him. I like it so much.
And I always freeze on the name. It's his spoof movie.
Top Secret.
Top Secret is one of my favorite spoof movies. Latrine! I love that movie.
What was the movie that he was in? I'm looking it up right now, where he's in college.
Real Genius.
Yes,
and it's my
Real
favorite
Genius.
Val Kilmer
Genius
movie.
is great.
Yes,
He has one of my
I-
favorite lines of dialogue in any movie, which is, I think of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
I
So
love
great.
Real Genius. It's such a good movie.
Real Genius and The Doors
Yeah.
are my favorite Val Kilmer. And he was great in The Salton Sea.
All right, what's next?
Another good movie.
All right, from Mary. I think Wanda will be an antagonist, but not the main villain of the whole movie.
Yeah, either or, take your pick, one or the other. I mean, like, it could be that. Absolutely, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. It could be a different universe as Wanda, but either way, Wanda is going to be our main problem, and it very well could be our Wanda. So we'll see. We'll see, Mary. All right, what's next?
From South Texas Shark. It's kind of funny that the VGA has more respect for voice actors than SAG Awards. Is it funny,
It's
South
not
Texas
funny.
Shark?
It's-
Is it funny or infuriating?
But it's also, I mean, you might have your first Aaron Chris debate on the show, but
Wow.
Oh,
Let's have at it, ladies.
Remember, we still have 40 questions
the
to go.
video game awards, like there is no award, like I mean, it is all voice acting.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is the
So obviously
entirety of
there,
it.
yeah.
So of course the video game awards is going to have more direct, they're going to elevate their voice actors
Yeah.
a lot
So
more
that's literally
than
all you can do.
because that's all you can do. You
Voice
don't,
acting and motion capture, which is still
Any
voice
performance award at the VGAs is a voice
Yeah.
performance. Yeah.
acting. No, I
exactly.
totally agree with that.
I do think that the SAG Awards needs to give more visibility to voice actors, but to say that the VGAs has obviously.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
From Tyler Pfeiffer. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars? Can only choose one.
Original Star Wars is like Lord of the Rings is fantastic, magnificent in every way, shape, and form. I still think Return of the King is the single greatest achievement in filmmaking history when you take into consideration all the various disciplines of cinematography, writing, directing, performance, visual, like all that kind of stuff. But it has never been, and it will never be 1/10 as influential as Star Wars has been, and what it is done. So for me, it's Star Wars. Everybody will have different, and I'm not going to crap on anybody who says Lord of the Rings because it's freaking magnificent. By the way, we are doing Captain America Civil War for Movie Club today, but then the next 3 weeks are the original 3 Lord of the Rings films. So guys, get brushed up on that.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. Yeah. I'm so excited. Do you want to join us for it? You can join us for it if
I
you want.
will. I'm
That's-
teaching one less class, so I probably could.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's make that happen. All right, what's next?
All right, from Caden. Nightmare has the power to possess people's astral forms. Nightmare is a villain of Doctor Strange. The term Nightmare has also been mentioned in the trailer. He's the main villain possessing the second Wanda.
Yeah, but see, just because the word nightmare was used, it's kind of like when in Endgame they mention that there was earthquakes underwater. Water? That's where Namor is from.
You know
and
what?
the writers,
up,
by
I
the
did
way,
that.
have come out and completely confirmed that they were not referencing Namor whatsoever. The writers actually said, Man, because they were asked about that. I only wish I was able to think that far ahead, but no, it had nothing to do with it. So yes, the word nightmare was done. But also, I remember people were 100% convinced in Captain America Civil War, which we're going to talk about later today. What's one of the trigger words for the Winter Soldier? Homecoming. And people were convinced there was some kind of connection with when Spider-Man Homecoming, the title came out, oh, it's going to be, I think it's just a word. I mean, you never know. Listen, Nightmare is a key Doctor Strange villain. There was some suspicion that he might have even been involved in WandaVision at one point. So it's totally possible, but don't think because he mentions the word nightmare that means Nightmare is going to be there. That's all I'm saying. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher. I think Multiverse of Madness will introduce the MCU's Fantastic Four, or at least their Reed Richards. Maybe the Fantastic Four got their power going through a multiverse portal.
So here's the theory right now. The theory right now is that John Krasinski is going to be Reed Richards in this movie, but he will not be Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four moving over. That, like, the fans just wanted it so much, they'll at least give him a taste of it in this, but then they're going to move on. That's the predominant theory out there right now. Whether or not that is the case or not, we will have to see.
But
all right.
if he's totally awesome as Reed Richards, they're going to have to capitulate to fan pressure.
I don't think they do. Kevin
No?
Feige's never capitulated to anybody.
Yeah, but
over
if he's really
everything.
great, what are they going to do? Like replace somebody who's
But
great?
what do you expect? Of course he's going to be great. You know he's going to be great in
He's
it when
gonna
you
be
cast him in it.
wonderful.
It's like, Krasinski sucks, but let's just put him in there anyway. Wow, he did good.
I think that everybody wants him though. Not
Doesn't
since
matter.
Patrick Stewart was Professor
Doesn't
Xavier.
matter what people want. Kevin Feige knows that what people want is not always what the people need. That what the people want is not what's going to lead to greater
not
success.
the
Of
hero we
course,
deserve.
absolutely not. But I think though, if they have a great performance from him,
Doesn't matter. It doesn't
But
matter.
why wouldn't you want him to go
Of course
on?
he's going to be great in it. That's a given. That's an
I love that
absolute
we're
given.
talking like he's already in it.
I know. Well, you very well
great.
may not be in the
No,
film, but I
of
mean,
course, you just said. Of course, he's going to be great in
of
it.
course he'll be great. I mean, if
By the way,
he's
you
put
don't
in
know.
it-
I want to say that because we already know some things.
Yeah.
What we talk about on the show is not stuff that we would ever spill. We're not spoiling anything.
Us discussing about whether or not John Krasinski is
Yeah.
in this, that's something we don't know.
Yeah,
all
we
right?
don't know.
But if he is, of course he's going to be great in it.
Yeah, of course.
Like if Tom Cruise is in this movie as an Iron Man,
He'll be.
of course he's going to
gonna
be
be
great.
great.
in it. So it doesn't mean they go, oh, wait a minute. People liked him as Iron Man. Let's start up some new Iron Man with Tom Cruise. I mean,
Well-
it's going to be a given that he's going to be great in it.
It's true.
Now, by the way, I'm not saying I buy into this theory. I'm saying that is the theory. And if the theory's right, listen, you and I probably both think that they've already got the Fantastic Four
By the way,
cast.
can I just say I said I think Tom Cruise is going to be in it for sure.
Right.
If I get anything right, you have to buy me the hot toy.
Yeah, how does that
figure.
happen? Well, how did Ray get that started? By the way, if I'm right about something, Johnny, give me the hot dog. What the fuck do I have to do with your
How
guess?
are Aaron and I going to start bartering for things?
Yeah,
too?
I don't get
I
this.
need to
Where did
barter
this? How
something.
did this get started?
What do the ladies have to offer?
I've
All
come
right.
to trade.
I've come-
Come to bargain.
All right, what's next?
From Casey Mack. Do you think we see White Vision in this movie?
I mean, listen again. Vision is mentioned in the trailer. If he's going to pop up again anytime, now's the time to do it. So I'm going to go 50-50 on that. What do you think?
I'm with you. Look, if it's not White Vision, some vision of Vision is going to appear in this movie.
Vision of Vision.
Somehow.
I see what you did there.
Doing this today.
All right, what's next?
From Daniel Dang. John, is it a coincidence that both your all-time favorite TV shows both have Lucy Lawless in it?
That's right. She is in Battlestar Galactica. And I don't know that Spartacus is my number two. I think Spartacus and Sons of Anarchy are interchangeable with each other. So like number one is Battlestar Galactica, and then number 2 and 3.
Wow,
in no
buddy, you got to
particular
read the
order.
room. That's all I'm saying.
No, in no
Like, why
particular
are you
order.
saying this when I'm right here?
It's in my top 3. My top 3 favorite shows of all time. I'm just saying.
Did you hear her earlier?
I know.
How lethal she can be?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's not. I'm not saying it's number 3. I'm just saying 2 and 3 are undefined. But the 2 and 3 spots are
Wow, do you need
Spartacus
another
and Sons
shovel
of
so
Anarchy.
you can dig that
Look
hole
at her.
faster?
She's calling up the Jericho
Look.
missile.
One of my
She's going
favorites.
full on.
Remember, I threw fireballs in Charmed. I will throw a
Yes, you
fireball
did.
at you.
You did.
Where's my CGI?
All right. What's next?
from Abraham Ruiz. Someone not mentioned that I did bring up the other day. Living Tribunal, I think, has a possibility. Got to be seeing all this madness. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing over there?
Here's why I don't think he will be, or depending on which pronoun you want to use. Here's why I don't think we're going to see Living Tribunal. Number one, most of the surprise cameos and stuff like that are going to be individuals, characters that the audience will recognize and cheer over. No one's going to know what the Living Tribunal is. Secondly,
and he needs a little, or they need a little backstory.
A little bit of backstory. And that's the other thing. It seems a little grand for that's a little too important. The Living Tribunal being in something like this is a little too major and important. I don't see. Now, you could be yelling at your screen and saying, but John, you thought there's a possibility Galactus could be there. You know what? That's a fair point. That maybe I should consider that too, but I just don't see. Rob, what do you think? Living Tribunal?
No. I would think it would be cool, but how do you, it's already madness.
In a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
It's already,
a 2-hour movie. That's so much more celestial to me. Bring that in with some of the Eternal stuff.
All right, what's next?
From Black Rice 19. Do you guys think there's any chance Kang shows up in Moon Knight as Rama Tut as a cameo? Love the show.
You kind of mentioned that the possibility of the other day, but do you think that's really something that could happen?
You know what? I don't think so, because they haven't established Kang. They haven't gone into any of that yet. So it's all right now after this 3rd episode. It's already bonkers enough.
I actually think there's more of a chance that either Apocalypse or Gore the God Butcher shows up at the end. So.
How awesome would it be if Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse showed up in this show? I would love it.
If they did,
or even a picture.
En Sabanur, I don't think it would be the Oscar Isaac version. Because
I'd love it so much.
I know you would.
I'd love it.
All right, what's next?
From Luke 1234. Should there be a limit on how powerful or how fantastical Star Wars Force ability should be? Not to start looking getting like a superhero or anime.
Yeah, there should be limits. I mean, look, it's like when Qui-Gon was talking with young Anakin, it's like nobody can kill a Jedi. And Qui-Gon is like, okay, well, I wish that were true, but that's not true. Like even the Jedi have limits and limitations. And no, in any Star Wars lore or whatever, they shouldn't get too ridiculously powerful. And if you do, like, maybe 1 or 2 of them out of the universe, but for the most part, they should keep that reined in to a degree, I think, at any rate. All right, good question. What's next?
Nathan Kruger. I think Magneto shows up, stopping Wanda from killing Professor X.
I think X is dead.
Me too.
I think that picture, I'll bring it up again, but I think that picture there, I think that's the end of I think everybody on the Illuminati ends in this scene.
What if that's a Cerebro helmet?
Oh, I love that. The one thing against that, though, is
she
she seems to be entering the chamber here, though, right?
Or exiting. Oh, wait, no.
Oh.
I mean,
She's just moonwalking out of there.
Oh,
just told you.
It's like, done.
She went in through the outdoor because she was wearing her little beret.
All right, that's a good question. All right, what's next?
Kendall Barker, and this is one of 2, not one of 1. Aaron and Chris.
Hi.
Huge fan of both of you. Thanks. How funny of a short little scene in Thor 4 would it be if Loki cracks a joke about Thor only being able to find love with an alternate version of himself, nods over to Jane as Lady Thor, but then Thor goes, "Really? Are you one to talk, brother?" as he nods to Sylvie in her Lady Loki outfit smirking.
Look, I know there have been many discussions about it and all this kind of stuff. I find the romance of Loki and Sylvie to be incredibly gross. Like, they are the same person.
It's more
What's wrong
like
with
the
that?
stranger. It's like if you sit on your hand and wait for it to go numb.
Yeah, it's like totally somebody else. You know,
I don't know what to do with that.
I mean, you know.
But see, I feel like there's just certain thing when you're what's that word? Narcissist. When you're a narcissist and you marry someone or, you know, who kind of looks exactly like you, just like the opposite sex, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Aaron, you don't have
But
to call
this
me
isn't
out like
somebody
that. It's okay.
who's like them.
Logan and I literally will go to castings as couples, and it's so many times been, are you guys brother and sister? And Logan will usually be like, brother and sister.
Yeah.
But like, to me, it's not somebody who's a lot like, it's him. It's another.
not.
Honestly, if I could literally just marry myself and not have to deal with Tom or anyone else in the world, I would do that.
Look, I
I would
don't
literally just
mean
be like,
to be-
because I know what my issues are and I know how to deal with my issues. I am like, I can be like, okay, Aaron, just sit down. Okay, here,
But
have
no.
a hot
See,
pocket.
I, again, and I don't mean to be crude. I do often mean to be crude, but at this point I don't. But like Loki and Sylvie, like that sex is just masturbation.
Yep.
Like that's all
Or
it
somebody
is.
knows what to do with you that you
Yes,
never told
exactly.
anyone else.
There you go.
I still find it
I know
gross.
how to play.
I
if-
would just
if
like
I
to have
could-
a partner who would touch my hot toys and pose them in ways I liked, rather than people go look and put them together in like bad
It's a
situations
weird
where I'm like,
euphemism, Rob.
I don't want to have to give my hot toys orders and say, no, hot toy, do this. No, that hot,
You want a hot toy that knows it's doing
I want a
all
hot
wait,
toy
you're
that
going a
you-
little
Hot toy
far.
that
I'm
poses
talking about my
itself.
action figures. I'm talking
All right.
about. I
Is
want
that what
somebody.
we're calling it now?
All right, we need to move on. We need to keep going. All right, what's next?
John Folk, how about Eric Bana's Hulk?
Yeah, I think if they're going to do any, it would be the
We never. You know what? I never thought about that. That could be interesting.
except it's a very unpopular movie. Like most people don't like that film, and because that's same reason we talked about Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. It's like people didn't like that iteration of Ghost Rider. It's not a popular version, even though I got something out of that movie.
I did too.
Hulk Dogs and Phantom Nick Nolte is unforgivable, but it's too unpopular of a film for people to, I think, to go. That's why I don't give it much juice, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
From Jordan Ellis, whatever is happening in Doctor Strange, all I know is it's going to be epic. I'm not trying to figure it out. I just can't wait.
Oh, I like that. I'm
Me
the
too.
same way. I don't like to figure things out. I don't like to I see a trailer, maybe the second trailer, but I don't like to I don't pause it to go, what does that mean? I do it for this show because it's my job, but in my, I don't want to know, don't give me, Tom is the worst to watch a movie with because the second the movie starts, he's like, dead person, she sees dead people,
gonna
that's
say.
what's going on. And I'm like, that's why I can't watch anything
We talked
with
about
him.
this at happy hour. That's why, like, Tom and I are always like, yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen. And Logan always, like, completely suspends
Why
his
do you
disbelief.
do that? Why do people do that? Come on.
What?
Because it's a fucking annoying.
Well, I mean,
'Cause we're
but there's a
smart.
difference. There's speculation. Like I have a lot of fun with the speculation about what could happen, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The key is, it's what I always say. Speculation is great. Just don't let your speculation become expectation.
True.
So take all your speculation, the fun theories, whatever, and then when you show up at the door of the theater, leave it all at the door, go in with a clean slate. And as long as you do that, it can still be fun.
But you actually say, like, you start watching something and you'll figure it out and blurt
Yeah.
out the.
I blurt it out when I'm watching it at home, not in a movie theater.
But if you haven't seen it before, even if
yeah,
Logan has-
I say all my speculations out loud. I have a hard time turning that off because for years and years, even prior to the show, that was my job of just find every little theory in a thing and then pop a video on YouTube the minute you're done watching it. It's hard to turn off.
I get it, yeah.
All
right,
right.
what's next?
From Aaron's pet squirrel.
Mine?
Why is diarrhea hereditary? It runs in your genes.
Oh, Aaron likes that one. All right, what's next?
Bleach 74820. Even though Strange wouldn't remember Peter Parker as Spider-Man, wouldn't he at least vaguely remember casting a spell to help Spider-Man save New York, even if some details have been wiped from memory?
Look, they know Spider-Man exists. So I assume he would know that he knows Spider-Man. He'll just forget that this is where it gets very nebulous. He'll just forget anything that connects Spider-Man to his actual identity.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
I think MJ too remembers, like, I helped Spider-Man in some way.
Yeah, there's a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean,
out
I
there.
think Strange would remember everything that happened, but only remember him as Spider-Man,
Yeah.
not know he's the kid, not know anything about who his identity
Yeah,
is or
it's
something.
got like a Justice League people not knowing Bruce is Batman kind of vibe for a while.
Right.
All right, what's next?
You're Bruce Wayne?
Seconds from Disaster. I believed that the blood on Wanda in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer is oil from the Ultron bots, and I think the new trailer kind of backs that up. What do you think?
I don't agree, but I mean, you could be right. But again, this isn't the best coloring on this, but a properly colored thing of this thing. You see also in this where she's in a hospital room. It's red. It's clearly red.
Well,
so, but I mean, it
She's
could
got
be.
the fireball, like
I know, but in a better
chaos
version of this
magic.
picture, you can see that the color
Oh.
of the stuff on her shirt is red. But that could be a Marvel trailer misdirect, and it could actually just be black or something else. But But I think it's blood. I think that's the horror aspect of this.
You know, we've never even brought. Do you think Scarlett Johansson could be in this movie?
Nah. No, I don't.
I wonder.
I mean, I would like it. I'd like to see a version of her pop up, but probably don't. All right, what's next?
From from MP. When will Ron Burgundy be on the show?
God.
This show?
Love Will Ferrell's Ron Burgundy. I love that character so much. I don't think we're ever going to see it again, but I do love it. By the way, do you remember that Ron Burgundy had a podcast?
Yes.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh,
That
yeah.
was great.
Yep.
Oh, all right. What's next?
From Joel. Hey, John and crew. I love the show, and I'm a longtime viewer.
Thank you so much, Joel.
I was wondering if you heard of the new Deadpool Samurai manga. Deadpool joins the Avengers. It's fantastic.
Know nothing about it, to be honest with you, Rob.
Me neither. I'm so out of new comic books. I only buy omnibuses of my
Same.
old favorites. I keep looking at artwork and stuff going, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
Although manga's doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
But no, I've not heard of this one myself. Have you heard of this one, Chris?
I haven't. I'm so bad about keeping up with my weeklies now.
All right.
I have like a job and stuff now.
even there's a new Moon Knight series. I'm waiting to get the hardcover.
Yeah, I
so
like getting the complete set.
All right, what's next?
From Blue Jay. It's sad that we lost both Bob Saget and Gilbert Gottfried in the same year. R.I.P. to both of them.
Yeah, both really, really good comedians. And again, his connection to Aladdin. It's just a thing a part of my life that was just so important to me for so long, and that he's passed away. It's really a sad thing. All right, what's next?
From Assistant Professor X. Hiya, John and crew. The new name for your show you say every day. Best damn movie show. Bold, easy to sell, and true. Got the .com and Twitter for you free.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was watching the show last week with baby Tommy, and when you said, welcome to the Best Damn Movie Show, I was like, oh my God, the Best Damn Movie channel, done. Best Damn Movie Show. And then you have all of the other little extensions of that.
Here's the problem. One of the things I've told people is what cannot be in the name is, number one, my name.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing it shouldn't have is exclusively a movie reference. Because we are getting more into television as well, and talk more about TV and streaming. So it's got to be a little bit more inclusive.
Best damn entertainment show?
Best Damn Show.
Media show.
I think
Pop
there was a
culture?
show on a sports network called Best Damn Show.
Show.
That might be a little
Catherine O'Hara.
show. Just show. I like that. All right.
Show with and company.
You know, it's funny because as we were talking, one of my business guys texted me and goes, "How about The Binge?" That's not the worst one. That sounds like a podcast network name. I don't think I'll go there.
Think of
Feels like an eating
bulimia.
disorder?
Yeah, bulimia.
Okay. Eating disorder's bad. All right, what's next?
Love that the ladies immediately are like,
So
So you and I, John, you and I would have gone down the road like, that's pretty good.
The actresses in the room were like, hold on.
And the first girl that walks in the
I'm
room,
just gonna-
no, not the binge.
no. Eating disorders, yeah.
It's a thing of a hockey show. Just call it The Period. But yeah, no, probably.
I'd love that show. I'd have so much to say.
Same.
All right, what's next?
From Never Lose Your Nerd. Black Panther, Storm, and the Illuminati. Would love.
I don't think it'll be Storm. I mean, Storm never was a part of the Illuminati anyway, right?
I don't think so.
No, but
Was she was
I have a
just married
prediction.
to-
I'll make a prediction.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet you Aurora Monroe is going to be introduced in
Specifically
Wakanda.
me, Rob?
No, I'm just gesturing. Or specifically to you.
Okay, all right.
That Aurora
think of that.
Monroe is going to be in Wakanda forever.
Ooh.
I don't know why.
I don't think that's a crazy thing.
No, I love that.
I think Storm is going to be in Wakanda forever.
And I
in
don't-
some
yeah.
iteration.
I don't think introducing her in Multiverse of Madness is the way to go.
No, but she's going to be introduced
Yeah.
in Wakanda forever.
All right, what's next?
From Kendall Barker. Oh, no,
Nope,
we
I
already
had
did
that.
that one. Nick. I love it when John thinks he has heard of all of Aaron's stories, then she proceeds to tell one, and he gets a look of, what the fuck, on his face.
No. I never think I've heard all of Aaron's stories because I'm constantly in a state of, how did you never tell me that you did this, or this? I mean, I've literally been in movie theaters and discovered she's in a movie because I'm in the movie theater watching it. And I've had to go outside and
Wow.
go, why didn't you tell me you were in this? or watch a show and then she pops up and I'm like, I have to call her. Why did you not tell me you were in this?
There is a line
You
in
did
one
tell
of my.
me about The Flash, though.
I did tell you The Flash. Yes, there is a line in one of my favorite Broadway musicals, not the movie musical, Cats, where they are referencing Deuteronomy, and they say he's a cat who has lived many lives in succession. I am also a cat who has lived many lives in succession.
Are you on Succession this season?
I'm in Succession.
You're in Succession.
Yeah.
I'm spilling it right
So
now.
You would be great on that
You
show.
would be great in
kill.
that.
They should introduce you as a character like somebody's, I don't know what.
Somebody's, I don't know what.
My agent, my former manager was trying to get me an audition for Succession, and do you know what he sent the casting director? It was to play a lawyer.
Oh, no.
He sent the casting director my footage from Dynasty. And I was like,
How is that going to...
why? Because I played a lawyer on Dynasty, and I was like, Dynasty was a really fun show to work on. It was a nice little paycheck. But you don't send my footage from
doesn't show your
Dynasty
fitness
to the
for-
casting director
No.
for Succession.
No.
And guess who's never had an audition for
Yeah.
Succession?
Tone is so
and probably
important.
never will.
This is the thing we talk in acting classes about too, of like, it's just like knowing corporate culture, right? Tone is so important. You give them the tone of a network, the tone of a show.
I would have sent
Send
them
me my
footage.
stuff send them my stuff from halt and catch fire.
Yes.
Send them my stuff from Mad Men. Send them my stuff from Masters of Sex.
What's the one you did with Richard Dreyfuss?
Oh, send them my stuff from Madoff with Richard Dreyfuss. Yes,
yeah.
send them footage of me working opposite an Academy Award winner. Don't send them fucking Dynasty.
All right.
Anyway,
What's next?
From Mr. Holdbrook. Rob, are you getting the Queen Studios 1/6 Joker?
Again, you got to speak a little faster for
And
people on
I'm sorry. I had to
podcasts.
think. I keep forgetting we're doing a podcast. I cannot tell a lie. There might be a deluxe 2-pack with 2 different versions of the Joker. I may.
Wait, this is the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, right?
No. This is
Oh.
okay. Queen Studios is jumping into the 6th scale arena. They're going to out Hot Toys. Their figures are premium. They have rooted hair. They're doing a Heath Ledger Joker, and there's a 2-pack. I cannot confirm or deny, but I may actually have pre-ordered that 2-pack.
Not surprised. All right. What's next?
From Darth Grant, one of 2. Marvel kind of contradicted themselves on the multiverse thing in Loki. They established that other universes exist, stacked on top of each other.
And he never got
And
into
then
part 2.
Darth Grant, I'm so sorry we don't have it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, only when the time variants happen can there be multiverse. But wait a minute, didn't the Ancient One already tell us a long time ago that there are already tons of different universes
Yeah,
and
they
realities?
really
Like, it's kind of nebulous.
I think they're going to have between Quantum Mania, because the quantum realm is different than, or is it? We
Yeah,
need
the
to
quantum
know.
realm is different from multiverse. Like the quantum realm is something that exists within our reality, but you can travel through time.
Right. So you can
In
travel
that.
through time, but if you our universe and time, you can change our universe, but you can't go into another universe. The
Yeah.
quantum realm can only go through our universe.
And you've said this before, Rob, is that this Multiverse of Madness might just be kind of our new 52 or Crisis at Infinite Earth.
Right.
To just kind of reconcile all these different notions.
Yeah,
But
they're gonna. I
also
think they might
listed.
close off the multiverse.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And listen, then we got one from Logan who just sent in a $20 super chat just to be supportive. Thank you, Logan.
Was
and
that your
guys,
husband?
No, that's not my husband.
no, not her husband.
I take enough of his money.
That'll do it for today's over 3-hour installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you guys for being here and making this show part of your day. Don't forget, it is a busy day here on the John Campea YouTube channel. At 2:30, we have our movie club for Captain America, Civil War. Make sure you come back and join us for that. And then at 4 p.m. today, Pacific Standard Time, that is, we have our Moon Knight open spoiler discussion. Hope to see you guys there for that. I want to thank the people sitting around the room with me. We got Robert Meyer Burnett, we got Aaron Cummings, we got Chris Carr, and we got myself, John Campea. Thank you guys for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, I was going to say something, but I decided not to.